Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vainglory Invitational Series, bringing you guys the VIS Challengers here in the autumn season, and we are right at the beginning of the second split playoffs here at autumn, and it is going to be an exciting playoffs. It's going to be absolutely jam-packed with action. We've got matchups that are just going to be incredible and unbelievable as we get into these series here and bring you guys these stream matchups in just a few moments. Joining me tonight, it's the Nominee and the Source, as we look to get into these games, help break them down with me. And Denominate, you've been here all the way. You've been riding along with me through the challengers, helping me break down these games. We've seen it all. And we're going to be starting off tonight with some really intense ones. Actually, some that I really want to talk about. But let's get right into our bracket here, as the playoffs have been really kind of interesting, because in a lot of ways, we have what we expected. We have the 1st through 7th seed here in the playoffs, but in a lot of other ways, or at least in one particular other way, we have something very unexpected, and that is sitting right there at the very top of the bracket, a 32 seeded team.
Yeah, which has never happened in the history of any sport that I've ever known. So, pretty neat that we got to see it. Now, obviously, maybe not the original roster of a 32 seed. I do believe they changed up 2 of their 5 players. Which did end up being their starters. Right. So maybe got to give them a little bit of leeway that they probably shouldn't have been a 32 seed. But even though that's the case, even though they did come in as a 32 seed, you have to look at it and say, okay, they came in and had literally the hardest possible matchups they could for several rounds of the actual Challenger Series. So yes, it was kind of strange that they picked up 2 kind of ringer players, I guess you could call them.
Well, that's a little
that really came in.
Yeah, that's interesting because these aren't players we know, right? Like these ringers or these really high tier players, they're players that obviously have proven themselves so far. That being said, it's worth noting that up until this point, other than the Kardashians, who were playing with a sub, they have been playing up against teams that a pretty good team could beat. Now, though, they are going up against the best. They are going up against the top 8 teams through the rest of the playoffs. This is going to be that true test.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. I think from watching them, I think they actually have a pretty high chance of making it through. Obviously, it's all going to come down to how they play over the next couple days, though. I mean, you can play amazing all season, but if you don't bring your A game to the finals and you get knocked out by one of these teams like even up against Necrolite, I mean, that's a team that you really have to take seriously. Lightning T is one of those players that we quite often refer to, obviously, as someone who's good enough to be in the Vainglory 8, as well as obviously having Stan and Solo and Riesco with him as well. I think it's actually a really good roster where, Vision Gaming has been looking really good as well. So any of these teams, I feel, can compete with Team Hazard and could knock them down very easily if Team Hazard plays a little bit sloppier than we've seen them do.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to find out. These are the 2 teams, Necrolite and Team Hazard's going head-to-head tonight, guys. And that's going to be our first stream matchup here tonight. This is a big one. Necrolite has typically been that dominant team. They have been able to come in and just absolutely, win very well, like get to like the 4th seed. They've always fallen a little bit short of either challenger battle spots, or if they make it a challenge battles, they've never really quite punched their ticket all the way into the Vainglory 8. But they absolutely could be this time around. So we're just about ready to get into the draft, everybody. We're going to be getting into that in just a few seconds. And as we get in, I mean, this is really going to be an impressive series for sure, Denominator. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely. And we should be getting ready to get into the draft here in just a moment. Looks like we're working on grabbing a couple more players in here, but we should be rocking and rolling soon. I think we'll see probably, pretty common bands come off the table here pretty early. Ones like the Blackfeather, the Rhyme, possibly even something like the Krull or the Rona as well. We've seen a couple teams ban away that Rona, trying to get either the Blackfeather or the Rhyme as a safe pick.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's really been the meta for 2.9, has been Rhyme and Blackfeather picked up one or the other. So we're just waiting for one more confirmation here before we jump into the draft. And then once we get that, we should be in great shape to kind of get going here. So pretty soon, as and then we'll jump into this first game. So I'm excited for this one, Denomine. This is actually the first time too that we're gonna see Team Hazards play with the double ban draft. It's worth noting that that it's basically been single ban all the way through.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And when we look at Team Hazard specifically, and the only reason I really want to pull them out is this is a team that has not competed in VIS before, at least not together, and have never been on a team that has made it far enough to actually get into the double ban draft phase. So you have to imagine, yes, these are very high tier play. I mean, it was 2 VG golds and a VG silvers that are playing on this team. So yes, they can be those pub stompers all day long and really accelerate in the single ban draft scenario. But things change very rapidly once you have double ban, especially if your hero pool is maybe not as wide as it should be for being at the top. It definitely can make it easy for an enemy team. Okay, we know you play the Kestrel really well and the Blackfeather really well, but we know you don't really play anything else at the top. Then we can take both of those away from you and leave you with nothing.
Exactly. Hey, so I do want to check in on something really quick.
This is a team that has...
because everyone's saying, some people say yes, some people are saying no. It looks like our audio is coming through here. All right, yeah, so we can hear us. All right, so just some trolls. There could be some issues on some of the other clients, but on Twitch we are coming through loud and clear. So that means we are going to be ready to get going here into game number 1 of this best of 3 series, and I'm really excited for this one, Denomine, because I really want to see how Hazards plays up against the best.
Yeah, and we're really at that point, and new sound effects.
Yeah, that totally took me off. I had not prepared myself for new sound effects there, so I almost jumped.
That's pretty neat. Pretty neat new draft client we got here going on. It's nice and smooth. Like, it's definitely an upgrade. Hopefully you have less disconnect issues too. So getting some fine tuning in here, but it's the Rona and the Rhyme coming off early, and this is what we talked about just a minute ago, Dragon. This opens up a very clear opportunity to pick that Blackfeather first. There it is right there. I mean, how do you not pick the Blackfeather with the Rona and the Rhyme ban?
Yeah, so that's guys basically what we've seen teams do. Plus, Rona has been that pick that, if they didn't ban the Rhyme, and which they kind of were forced to there, Denominate, because Rona is a fairly good counter against heroes like Rhyme, where, again, a lot of damage comes out with all those melee heroes that really hard to escape from Rona. So I do like that for first ban.
Just to clarify a little bit, the Rona ban was to get the Blackfeather. The Rhyme was just to not go against the Rhyme. I actually think Rhyme trades pretty well with Rona, but with both of them off the table, there's not really anybody that is acceleratingly well into Blackfeather. And now that they've taken the alpha off, they've really targeted that they want this Blackfeather to succeed. Now, there are a couple options available to the side of Necrolite that are... Team Hazard are on the B side, right?
Yeah, Team Hazard is on B side here, Necrolite on A side, higher seeded team. So it's there's a couple options still available. The Vox can do well into the Blackfeather in the late game. It does take really good positioning though. Blackfeather very easy at getting into that back line. Vox needs to save his Sonic Zoom for the right times, as well as is going to have to use Arden for kind of a little bit of additional safety. And, that's really kind of where we're at in the draft right now. Other options would be go with the Kroll, but it's still fairly early on in the draft to do so. You could set yourself up to be countered that way as well. They go with a Saw, and that's a little interesting. This could either work really well, or it could really flop really quickly. I like it against the Blackfeather because early on, Blackfeather's just going to be miserable. He's going to have not very strong range. He's going to be squishy. Saw's going to be able to do a lot of damage very quickly, but it is risky because it's got to be a snowball comp here coming out of Team Hazards. They've got to execute it on it pretty much perfectly because after 10 minutes, if they don't have a few turrets down, this could backfire for them.
It's also very dependent on if this is a lane Blackfeather or not. I mean, we could It might not be the most comfortable position for a jungle weapon Blackfeather, just because there's not as much gold in the jungle, but it would really shut down the Saw if Necrolite have the Celeste in their hero pool, if that's something that we think they can bring to the lane. And we know Archaic can play the Celeste pretty well. That's NRG, not Necrolite. My bad. Totally mind blank there for a minute. I'm not sure about Lightning T in the Celeste. At one point, he was a very good Celeste. But I mean, that was a while ago. Is it still something that is an irrelevance to his hero pool? Is it something that they're comfortable doing, putting the weapon Blackfeather into the jungle? We don't really know. We've seen him play the Crystal Sky a couple times, and I think Crystal Sky can do a decent job at holding a Saw back as long as you really stay at the edge of your forward barrage range, because you will outrange a Saw very slightly. And that's scaling damage out of forward barrage with the Dragon's Eye and the Eve of Harvest and the Broken Myth. That can definitely be a way you can deal with it, but I do like the Celeste much better.
Yeah, I do like it. We'll have to see. It's taking a lot of time here. They do have...
It looks like the draft is froze.
It does look like that. Let's pause it and see if we can get a restart here. All right. So we do have to do a quick reset here. I do apologize. We'll just let the draft race pretty quickly through these picks that we already know about. All right, here we go. So Kestrel and Lance are those two picks going into Saw. And I like Lance, but Denominate, I'm not sure Kestrel is going to be, strong enough early. So this does leave Team Hazard a pretty strong composition those first 5 or 6 minutes of the game.
Kestrel, as long as she takes an early rotate back, if they rotate up, force the lane up, then Kestrel should be able to recall, get herself a heavy steal, and can hold the lane against a Saw at that point. Before then, it is going to be very difficult, but now it's a Taka, and Taka is somebody that we have not seen in quite some time, at least to good effect. We've seen a couple teams try it, but I think it was like a 90% or higher loss ratio, so
wow.
We'll have to see how this one works out. But with the Saw, if they're trying to push that early game, they definitely could find an opportunity in the mid game where this Taka could do well. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see exactly how we see Saw and Taka. I mean, Taka is interesting because it's a bursty. It really plays into this early composition that Team Hazards wants to play, and so this could be a really strong matchup. And if they snowball it, Denominate, it doesn't really matter how fast it falls off as long as they don't let it get to that point.
Yeah, exactly. And the Saw definitely starts to fall off pretty heavily if you don't have a composition built up around keeping Saw up with everybody. And that is kind of the downfall here is they don't have a draft that really fully complements the Saw. So, when we really see this Saw work, it's usually with a Lyra or with a Churn Walker, someone who's a little bit better at keeping targets in range, or rather moving Saw up while he's spun up and has lost his mobility. The Arden, you could argue that the Gauntlet does the same, but into a Blackfeather, you kind of lose a little bit there. Obviously, the mobility and the range that a Kestrel has can also be very difficult to deal with. So it's just not really the best complement to a Saw.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. I don't think we've seen Takasaw compositions played before. This could be definitely the first time that we'll see it, at least on VIS, as well as just at this competitive league. And you know, when we get to the playoffs, this is really when the best teams come out and shine. So, you know, really, I'm really excited to see how it plays, because I think this could be something really as a sign of the meta change. We've seen VIS lead the meta changes many times before, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. With that, though, we are getting into this first matchup. I'm going to kick it over our casters. It's the nominee and the source to get us into all the action.
All right, Source, welcome to VIS. We obviously have a Necrolite up against Team Hazard today. And Team Hazard, as we mentioned earlier, has really been one of those teams that came out of nowhere. It was a team that nobody really knew, but they really have made a name for themselves here and could be looking to get into the challenge battles in their first season. So should be some fun ones.
Gotta beware. Anytime a team can come in with some, less than conventional strategies, they'll get you on those off timings. They'll get you when you least expect it. And underestimating opponents is a unfortunate side effect of many teams across all of esports. So let's see whether or not Necrolite can hold down Hazard, and that is not a good initial route onto the Arden.
No, definitely not. And the Treant is going to go over to Hello Kitty here on the Saw, who's now obviously going to head up in the lane and just do Saw things, just force the wave in as frequently as possible. And up against the Kestrel in the early game, it should be pretty easy to do so. Oh, a good glimmer at a root, though. Gonna chunk some good damage out of Hello Kitty there. That is the damage in the early game that Lance can provide that you have to be incredibly careful about.
Yeah, but Hello Kitty should be fine. Has the Book of Eulogies, the sustain will be there. And any time that an Impale misses, that's going to be a lot of immediate punishment back. You were talking about in the draft how strange the Taka is. The win rate isn't all that good, but maybe it has a place with Saw. I'm thinking about how much pressure Saw puts off in the early game, and maybe when people are trying to try to stay in that lane for a few extra seconds against the Saw, the Taka could abuse them and cast them out at low health.
Yeah, definitely could if Saw is able to poke out a hero's health and they're kind of sticking around trying to clean up some additional farm. For example, the Kestrel. We talked about the range being comparable. Riesco is going to get out with a sliver of health here, and this is kind of, what I'm feeling like you're getting at. Riesco very low on health. This is an opportunity that Ataka could come in, or even Lightning T now, thanks to being in that suppressing fire. Yeah, and it's actually Stannon solo getting dropped. I'm glad you caught that out. I was watching to see if Lightning T was going to die. Hello Kitty going to go ahead and get the recall off Riesco, fail fishing the Impale there a little bit, and is now probably going to find Erica Kane. Obviously, we had the Vision splash out there in a second, but I think Erica going to look ahead for the Treant here. Riesco very likely could try to steal it, but is just going to go ahead and recall, as well as Lightning T when it took the chance to shop. And this is what we talked about earlier. Getting that heavy steal is going to allow Lightning T to sustain a little bit easier against the Saw in the lane, but we will have to look out for that level 6 spike coming out of Taka. Could be a lot of aggression in the lane.
Yeah, and what was great about what Erica Kane did when that kill was going down, it was a fight over the Elder Treant in the middle, and it started off with a steal. Erica Kane stole that away from standing solo, and then just continued to pressure him, and then was able to steal away an additional Treant. So a good early bit of jungle pressure is going to let Hazard kind of not have to worry about Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty has been able to safely do Saw things, although it took a huge amount of damage. That and gets hit by the Impale.
Yeah, I don't know about safely doing Saw things, but we'll get the first blood with that Dank Shank onto Riesco, and we'll pay for it with their life. Actually, sorry about that. The first blood did go onto Erica Kane. I forgot about that rotation in the jungle. But, getting another kill was very likely going to die anyway. And now Erica Kane looking to come in and get some more aggression here in the lane, but without the X-Retsu, isn't really able to get that heavy burst damage yet that we know Taka for. But now another good rotation, looking to steal away another Treant, and is going to get it. Riesco's going to spot that out, but very likely just let Taka go, as obviously Lance not going to be able to keep up there. And now Lightning T back in the lane, but very hurt, whereas Hello Kitty has now rotated back over and is very healthy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Erica Kane ends up picking up the tension bow for the initial burst and set it for Hello Kitty with those two weapon blades. That might be a possibility, but does look to be going into the aftershock fairly soon. So looks to be kind of instant on hit Taka build. It's kind of hard to say. It's like, oh, what is the standard Taka build in 2.9? Honestly, I'm not strictly sure, but I think the on hit is going to give them a lot of initial burst to bring down Lightning T and Standing Solo. And I think until Standing Solo gets a little deeper into this CP Black Feather build, an easy target for the side of Hazard.
Yeah, and the Aftershock proc is pretty nice in this particular patch, but I think just in general, the health changes have made it a little bit more difficult for a Crystal Taka to really accelerate. But here we come. Here's the X Retsu in, and it just doesn't have a whole lot of damage, but Saw gonna find some as well. Standing Solo getting dropped very low. A beautiful Githian wall coming out of Riesco may just have saved Standing Solo's life. The healing flask is used. Lightning T is going to force back a little bit of that aggression with a couple Glimmer shots. And now it's Erica Kane. Githian wall stunned again by Riesco, the legend Lance. And Erica Kane not quite going to be able to find the distance onto Lightning T yet, but instead going to turn the attention onto the turret. And it looks like Hazard are going to take the first objective. And Standing Solo might pay for it with his life. He does. And now Erica Kane looking to get some more damage down onto Riesco before probably rotating back and taking a half rotation out of the jungle again. Lightning T is going to get found out here. Here comes Erica Kane, the Vanguard, going to help get him into position. Will the Kestrel drop here? She will, and I think Taka's even going to make it out safely.
Yeah, managed to survive with a little bit of extra health, but is in massive trouble from Standing Solo. Will stealth away, and meanwhile, Hello Kitty is putting massive damage onto this turret. Will die for it in the end. Will he? Will he? Has the boots. Is quick. One shot. Finishes him off. That's unfortunate. I thought he was going to get away from that.
On point from Standing Solo actually takes that kill away. Feels bad for Lightning T, but the team gets the kill anyway. They are sitting down at, right now Hazard at least, up with 2.5K gold lead. So taking a edge here very early on with this Saw, and that's really what we need to see. We need to see this Saw excel in the early and mid game, and I think they've done a good job doing so far. The Aftershock is now picked up by Erica Kane.
Yeah, so little bit more value there, but I'm more concerned with how Hello Kitty is going to build, because we've seen in the VG8 there's been a number of Saws that just end up going full crit and then they can't sustain through the fight. How long does Hello Kitty actually hold on to the Necrobook and keep that sustained? Because at this point, Erica Kane has got the Aftershock. That's a good amount of sustain. Arden can keep himself, fairly safe, plus back up his allies. Hello Kitty needs to be able to survive the fights long enough, because so far, Necrolite hasn't proven that they have the burst to kill him. So if he can survive, he should be able to bring them all down.
Yeah, it is a little bit difficult to kill Saw in the early game, though, just because he has so much threat and aggression. And it's Lightning T up in the lane. Can he find Erica Kane, though? He's on an active camo. That's a kill going over to Kestrel. Riesco going to go ahead and use that healing flask. They've now rooted up Saw, but they are kind of low on health bars as well. We see the flasks come out there. Can Necrolite turn the aggression around here? Hello Kitty is pretty low. A couple Glimmer shots are on point. Could really spell demise there. But I think Necrolite just going to be happy with taking the turret, and they might even try to bait in a kill here, but a flare coming out is going to catch them in that bush, and they're looking to get some farm now. But here comes that Crystal Taka, and we were talking about the amount of bursts that could come out earlier. A Failfish Gauntlet, unfortunately, coming out of Nice's shot, but here comes the X-Retsu. They're chasing down Standing Solo. They turn their attention onto Riesco, as Standing Solo had gotten just a little too far away. But Erica Kane looking for more aggression now, rotating over into the jungle. The Kaku is popped. Here's the X-Retsu, the Kaiten coming through in a second, not quite, as the Faint of Heart on point, is going to slow him down. And now it is going to be Lightning T coming over, looking to find some damage of his own. But can he get it? He has the Crystal Sentry here helping out. I think that's a kill onto Erica Kane. One more Glimmer shot takes down Hello Kitty. And a nicest shot going to be on the way out without his carries. He is not going to be able to take down Lightning T. And this game has been back and forth nonstop.
A little over aggressive by Hazard to want to take that level positioning and step into the jungle. Yeah. Nasus will... Nate... You know what? That name is just it's taunting me. I don't want to say anything just yet. Can you give me a pronunciation lesson on that one?
On which one?
The Arden.
Nice shot.
Oh god, I should have known. But either way, nice shot. actually had to pop the gauntlet in a really awkward position, and that was kind of a problem. It forced them to lose that utility tool and get those kills before they had to go too deep into enemy territory. And are you lagging, or is that just me?
I seem to be fine right now, as it's Erica Kane possibly looking for a Lightning T as the healing flask and the fountain are popped. Erica Kane, though, gonna get dropped likely by Stan Solo. One more hit could have done it, but Lightning T falls on the backline there. And just like that, Stan Solo now could be in a terrible position. Here comes the X-Retsu, and the Arden's Vanguard is gonna save their life. And Riesco now looking to get out of here. Stan Solo, you gotta be careful, man. Will you find a kill? You don't have any of your abilities ready to go. Feels super bad, man, as it's an ace going over to Hazard, and they're going to look to start up this gold mine, and with the saw, they should be able to take it pretty quickly, but Lightning T probably senses this is going on, could possibly come down and get a steal. Sees the flare coming out, one shot, one kill, going to be a little bit early, as well as getting blocked out by Nice's shot, and instead, Lightning T just going to take the safe route, farm up the lane, and give up that objective, but so far, Hazard have taken a pretty good early lead.
Yeah, that was a great gauntlet over the wall by Nice's shot, just because, one, it cut off the pathing, but two, there were already very few options as to where the enemy team could go. Necrolite, they didn't have a lot of options, and so being able to take that and trade out the damage, they were able to find the additional kills, and the kills are going on to Hello Kitty. They're going to the Saw. So that's, their primary target. At this point, he has thrown away that Necro Book, is that full crit Saw that we've seen. So they have to keep up the pace because he's going to start to fall off and lose that ability to sustain later in the game. Huge damage out of Erica Kane onto God, these names. Riesco. I don't know why it's so hard for me to decide what someone's name looks like, although we were talking about that earlier, about how all the European casters can't say my name right.
Lesauce.
Anyway,
it looks like another turret for Hazard now, but can Necrolite turn the aggression and find Hello Kitty? It does not look like it so far. And here comes Erica Kane again onto the Blackfeather. It's actually going to be Lightning T finding a kill onto Nice's shot, but they return it quickly on Stan Solo. Can Lightning T find the damage? This is the question. Here comes the X-Retsu. The Kaiten is going to find the kill. Erica Kane on this Taka has been absolutely insane this game, and Hello Kitty chunking down the distracted targets. With this ace wave, they could now look for a turret. Stan Solo is going to be up and could possibly defend this, but has to be careful of just the threat that is Hello Kitty. 1, 2, 3, Hazard knock down Necrolite and will be up one game in this series, 18-3. The kill line suggests it was fairly close, but I would say for a 12 and a half, almost 13-minute game, that looked like Hazard all day long.
Yeah, I mean, Riesco had good early pressure on the Hello Kitty. They decided they were going to put pressure onto the Saw, but things started out fairly badly for them as soon as Erica Kane picked up that first blood on the Standing Solo. So pretty much off of that, you've got Ataka, which is a very disruptive character, just spending a lot of time making it difficult for the members of Necrolite to really put forth the concerted effort to shut down the Saw. And if they can't shut down the Saw, he's just going to continue to push turrets and do what Saw do.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit difficult to deal with the Saw when you don't have anybody that wants to get up in his face and get that Atlas Pauldron down. Riesco had one, wasn't quite able to land it effectively enough, but to help us break down that game a little bit more and get us into game number 2 of Hazard versus Necrolite, we'll be jumping over with Dragonborn.
Thank you, Denomine, and thank you, The Source. Wow! That was a completely different take on the Saw push comp than we've seen come out of recent Denomine. That's a really important thing to highlight here, is that this is a 30-second team coming into this Challengers, and they're at the point where in the playoffs, every matchup they're going to play is against some of the best teams here in Challengers, and they executed the Saw push comp fairly well. I mean, like you said, it looked close in the kills, but when they realized that they had to push, they took advantage of their advantages. They pushed when they had to, and they made sure that they initiated team fights early. They were very aggressive to nominate, and this is a very good sign for Hazards because it shows a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it definitely does. And again, they did have a pretty difficult route, you could say, coming up here, obviously up against Kardashians in day number 1. But they are here, and they just took a pretty convincing win over Necrolite. Now, granted, I think the Saw didn't really have anybody that was able to contest him. Obviously, with Arden in the front line, the Glimmer shots were never able to find the target. And then the Taka worked out well. I don't think the Taka was really the game changer, but the Taka did provide a very good distraction. And we quite often saw Necrolite turn their attention on the Taka because he dove in. But when you have a spun up Saw just wailing on your face, that Taka, maybe not the most important one.
Yeah, and honestly, Taka built a lot of defense in that game early, and that was important because, the Vanguard was a key part about keeping his carries alive, but it was also about that distraction you mentioned, and if Taka would go down too early, the distraction game didn't work. So a lot of times, Arden would also push himself into the center, take that damage. He frontlined those Glimmer shots, those on-point damages, and you saw a few times Arden would go very, very low, or if not, die. But that was okay because with Taka and Saw still alive, they were able to usually clean up the fight. And that's exactly how that last fight played out there in that game. That's how they were able to turn it around when it was starting to kind of tilt her back towards Necrolite's favor there for a little bit. They were able to switch it all back and get that win. And so now, Hazards, they are up one game in this series.
Yeah, and it's got to be feeling like a pretty comfortable spot for them, as staying in the winner's side of the bracket is going to make it just, all that more convincing that they deserve to be here. And, again, every single game they win is the furthest a team as a 32 seed has ever made it in this. So, that would be pretty interesting if a team came together and was able to make it all the way into the Vainglory 8 from a 32 seed. That would be just...
Well, that's never been done before, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, a 32 seed has never made it out of the first round in the winner's bracket. Exactly. So, I mean, again, every game they win is just looking good for them. They are going to ban away the Rhyme here first, and I have to imagine you have to consider banning away something like the Black Feather, or even the Saw. I mean, Hello Kitty came in really, really strong on that Saw last game, but it is going to be the Black Feather again. Just one of those heroes that is very difficult to deal with, even when you do get a good, what you would consider a good draft into a Black Feather, like with the Rona or the Rhyme. So is kind of a priority target to take off the table. And now the Arden first pick does leave several options available for the side of Necrolite.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting. Hazard's prioritizing Arden here as a support. He really has come into the meta as that premier support to dominate, as we've just seen healers are still available. We'll still see, basically every support come out at least in some situation, but that kind of that fail-safe support that comes out here a lot in challengers has been Arden. Late game, he's really, really strong, and so he could be played well into that, and he also, for the early game, if you build enough health early, he can actually provide an insane amount of barrier on squishy heroes that typically struggle in the early game.
Yeah, and it looks like a Lyra is going to be what Necrolite feels they need to pull out a victory here. We do know that Bright Bulwark and Arcane Passage can be very useful into an Arden, specifically when you consider his Gauntlet. And they're going to ban away the Alpha as well, not wanting to allow that Arden and Alpha to pair up together and, really have so much sustainability in a fight. So now we got to see what Hazard is going to take off the table here. And I wasn't going to say the Vox, but I mean, I guess the Vox makes a little bit of sense.
Well, it's really incredible. This is one of the few times we've seen a team go up against the Black Feather and win. They did in game one. It looks like they've got their strategy. They know what composition they want to play and what counters that, because they were very specific on how they drafted it. If you're going to go with a soft push comp, with a Taka, you don't want a Rona, and that was something they identified quickly. And so this team, Hazard, they've got a nice macro way of approaching draft from the beginning. So it's definitely been playing out. Necrolite is going to use the Glaive pick here for their second pick. Now, Denominate, this is an interesting pick because we've typically only seen Glaive go weapon, and he's just not quite back to his true form in this update. Is this a great pick by Necrolite? What are they trying to do here?
I'm not... Okay, so I love Glaive. Ask anybody. I love Glaive. This is probably not the right time to pick a Glaive. He's not really in the best of condition in this patch. Some of the health changes we look at, Glaive used to have 500 more health than Kashka, a bursty assassin. And that was one of the things that made him so viable. He was very tanky because, he had similar defense to everybody, but then also had a large chunk of health additional on top of them plus could provide a bit of burst and sustained damage in his kit. Now he sits only like 50 to 100 health above Assassins. He's supposed to be that frontline bruiser, and it just seems like this patch he doesn't have quite the ability to do so, and is outdueled very easily by things like the Black Feather, like the Rona. So,
And
now with the Rona pick by Hazard, I really want to give them the edge. The only real benefit Glaive has over Rona right now is he can potentially stun her out of Red Mist. That's really all Glaive has going for him.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I have to imagine that with the Rona pickup here, Necrolite may look to pick a Catherine now just to get that extra crowd control because, well, no, they got the Lyra. Yeah, you're not going to go carry Catherine. I apologize. I was totally blind, forgetting about the Lyra pick there. But what do? Do they go with a Celeste in the jungle? They need some additional crowd control, but it's at the risk of being a squishy hero that then the Rona can just tear apart.
I mean, I would like to see something like a Celeste or a Scarf, preferably the Celeste though, and then just run Glaive as kind of like a protect the hyper carry kind of playstyle, because he is going to have to build very defensive because he's up against a Rona and a Baptiste who provide a lot of damage. The Baptiste obviously going to be poking out that front line with those bad mojos, can do a lot of burst damage. And then again, just Rona is possibly the best dueler next to maybe a Krull right now. So definitely not like the best situation for Glaive to be in, but if he goes a defensive route and then provides peel for a hyper carry, like the Celeste or the Scarf, we do see the Scarf come out here, then he has a little bit of use. He's at least not like totally terrible. I think I would have liked to see the Celeste a little bit more, but the Scarf does do pretty well in the Baptiste.
Yeah, and I think this is what they were identifying here is the poke that they're going to be able to trade with Baptiste is going to be greater with Scarf. And Rona will have to be very careful, but so will Glaive. Glaive cannot go into these fights by himself. He needs a lot of protection because Baptiste is ordained plus a Rona is going to lock you up pretty quick. So the other thing you have to be watching out for here is as you get into the late game, Scarf is strong late game, but Arden's double gauntlets will be absolutely destructive at how it's going to isolate the team, and it has a possibility to really trap this team up. Even with the Lyra, even with the portal, that double gauntlet comes out and you just don't know which way to go, and then Rona and Baptiste are just going to plow through to the backline. So great draft by Team Hazard. I think Necrolite have a pretty strong win condition, but they do have to execute this with efficiency early, because if they get behind, this Rona composition with Arden coming into late game is a lot to deal with, to nominate.
Yeah, it definitely can. It looks like we're just waiting to get one player in here. Hello Kitty, I think, was doing the draft on the same device. Yeah. So we'll get Hello Kitty in here. We'll get this game started for you guys, and we'll have to see if Necrolite knows something that we don't.
I mean, so far it has been an impressive run by Team Hazard coming up through the challengers and staying in the winner's bracket. They've just been absolutely manhandling all of their opponents, and I just haven't seen that different. And when we look at the draft day, I feel like this team has the confidence. They also just seem to be so poised with what they're picking. I like Necrolite's pick with the Scarf. Just the Glaive's a little risky. Would have loved to have seen something a little bit different there. But again, when you've got Black Feather band and you also have Alpha band, you do Minig and Rhyme as well. A lot of those really strong junglers are taken off the board.
I mean, it's not going to be a jungle Glaive, though. It's very likely going to be a lane Glaive. So that's what we'll have to see for sure. He does have the Book of Eulogies, so we'll be getting ready for that. But
let's head into the game. Yep, we're going to get into it, guys. So we're going to kick it over to our casters, Denominate and the Source, to get us into the action.
Alrighty. Source, nice of you to join us tonight. Very exciting to have you on this I believe this is your first time, right?
Yeah, I've done some of the VGL, so a little bit of the European Challenger games, but nothing over here in NA.
Yeah, so, Hazard, personal opinion, I think they're looking like they've got a really good draft right now. This game is going to be very heavily on if Stan and Solo on a jungle Scarf is able to get to a point in his build that he can be that hyper carry. We got to fight over the Elder Treant here. It is looking like it went on to Riesco, unfortunately, not Lightning T, so he won't be able to top off his health. But he's actually going to go ahead and recall, it looks like. Might be looking to pick up a little bit more damage. Nope, he's got some boots. Boots and a minion candy. So going to look to try to hold this wave down again. trying to get to the late game for the Scarf, but there's not as much gold in the jungle.
Ooh, what is this strategy from Hazard, this 3-man jungle play, which makes me think they had a sense that their opponents had decided to back. They'd also cleared out their entire jungle, so it wasn't a bad moment for the attempt. But yeah, Hazard seems to have a good pace of how they want to play the game. Necrolite, they're running into the possible issues of the weapon power glaive as things go on. They will have a reasonably good lane up against the Rona. They don't have to worry about that. I do agree. I worry a little bit about standing solo, getting deep enough into the Scarf build in the jungle. It's possible, but it's going to require them to get a number of kills. And that just starts to get very, very difficult up against a Rona who's very difficult to pin down and kill, an Arden who's difficult to pin down and kill. Possibly the Batiste is their primary target, but Hello Kitty's going in.
Yeah, onto the Scarf. Had to use the healing flask. The Ordain is now out on the Lightning T. He's taking so much damage. And Hazard looking pretty healthy right now. Probably just going to go ahead and rotate down in the jungle. Take away a rotation out of Scarf. And that's going to put him so much further behind. Standing solo. Looked like he was probably trying to sneak down and rotate over to the enemy jungle. But Hello Kitty likely going to find a kill here. Jumps right into the goop, but has the boots ready to go. And that's a kill onto Standing Solo. Riesco over in the jungle is going to make it out very low on health. And Lightning T was looking to get a kill on Nice Shot, but gets stunned up and might not be in the best of places right now. But now with Riesco here.
Boots.
No. Riesco, the man, the myth, the legend with the hyper carry. Captain Lyra, though, going to pick up a kill there for Necrolite. And Lightning T, as low as he was, had to recall and now needs to get into the lane before Hello Kitty's able to force the wave up underneath the turret. Oh, I didn't even see a kill there. Standing solo was able to find out that Batiste and is now looking to get an Elder Treant for himself. So he did lose out on a bit of his second rotation there, but is looking to take it back. And he's at least going to get a half rotation. And oh, Hello Kitty. Oh no, didn't even get the half rotation.
Oh, and that's a lot of damage on the Scarf. But it was the same situation as we saw before. Hazard, they have a good sense of how to skirmish and how to team fight, but they seem to overstay their welcome. Batiste was spent too much time in the enemy jungle. They'd almost killed Riesco multiple times and sent him back when he eventually returned to kill Nice Shot. And, it's really just, this is kind of an example of, why we don't think we've seen, why we haven't seen Hazard, why they're such a new team. They're a newer roster. They haven't spent as much time, getting a sense for these higher end competitive games. They have a great amount of game sense, but I think they're over pushing their limits.
They potentially could consider that, as it looks like we might get ready to have a fight here. Standing solo is ordained. Bad Mojo not going to come through. So everybody just going to go ahead and back off. But despite a start that did look really good for Hazard, it's actually Necrolite up 800 gold right now, thanks to some good ambient gold sharing, as well as getting 2 kills on the board as well. And now Lightning T and Standing Solo might be looking to force a wave up here. Standing Solo going to land a Spitfire onto Hello Kitty, but obviously should be perfectly fine, especially with the Serpent's Mask, able to heal up off of these minions in the lane. So he will be at full health by the time Lightning T returns. Also, Hello Kitty is level 6 to Lightning T's level 5, as well as Erica Kane level 6 to Standing Solo's level 5, almost level 6. So I'm kind of curious what you think we're going to see out of this Scarf build. So obviously we've seen several heroes stray away from something like the Frostburn first item. It doesn't provide as much damage as it once did. Does provide a little bit more of a consistent slow in the early game, but again, when you lack the damage, it does make it a little bit more difficult to favor that item. And Scarf, sitting at 1100 gold right now, I think could be working towards a Dragon's Eye or a Shatterglass. Lightning T is taking a bit of damage though. Here comes the Afterburn, gets it onto Hello Kitty, but not the direction he wanted. He wanted to punt that there Rona underneath the turret, but here comes the Dragon's Breath Ordained, going to stun up that Scarf. And Hazard still quite healthy, could potentially look to follow up a fight here if they can catch out this little dragon. Bad Mojo going to go ahead and clip Standing Solo and Riesco. Because he didn't have that in power, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. There's another clip on the Lightning T and Riesco, but again, it's all about your Soul Shard management, your Reap management on the Batiste. So now it's going to be a rotation back up by Necrolite, and Standing Solo going to head down to his jungle.
Yeah, and Necrolite, there's one saving grace here for them. Neither team has a great turret pushing team. They don't have a lot of great siege. They both have got sort of these melee carries that they're trying to get going. So that actually might let Standing Solo get deeper into the game, just because it's going to take a while for these turrets to go down. Both teams can safely kind of farm that up under turret, as we're seeing right now. As for the build, I think a Shatter Glass. Well, he's picked up the Shatter Glass. Just look down. Ooh,
Erica Kane gets exploded, and it is going to be credited to Lightning T with that Blood Song proc. Going to go ahead and drop that. Drop the little Soul Reaper there. Hello Kitty, go ahead using the Red Mist, but a beautiful bright bulwark out of Riesco is going to stop that into the fray. And now Necrolite, you know, they might lose out on Standing Solo. A Fountain finally just comes back up for Riesco. They might have found a kill onto Nice's shot as well. There it is. That's 3 kills going over to Necrolite, and they are looking to get this first turret down. And this game is starting to look like Necrolite definitely taking a strong edge. 2k gold up, and this dragon has been able to find a lot of damage. And Lightning T actually doing very well on the glaive, despite it not really being a popular pick this patch.
Well, it's not really that the glaive has to be that high impact other than the afterburner combos. As long as he gets off a good afterburner stun, you know, the damage can come through from Standing Solo. And because, you know, we're only seeing this first turret go down at about 7 minutes into the game, there's been time for Standing Solo to actually get some of that farm, and then he found those additional kills. And, you know, I think Scarf has kind of made it past that stage where he has to really be worried about getting early dove and not being able to get up to where his damage is there. He doesn't always have to worry about how much dive potential there is out of Hello Kitty, especially once that breaking point comes through. But right now, Standing Solo is pretty much on track to get to that 4 item damage spike normally we see out of a laning Scarf. And I don't think he'll be that far behind in making that a reality.
And here comes Hello Kitty, though, diving deep into the fray. Standing Solo is going to boots out, gets stunned up by the gauntlet, and I think Hello Kitty finds a kill here. There's one. Can Lightning T answer back? This Baptiste doing such a good job managing the soul shards, but Glaive coming through with the damage. Arden's Vanguard was not quite up yet, and that allowed him to sneak the kill in. Lyra has since recalled, and Lightning T now in a troublesome situation with the 2-on-1 is going to be able to get one and get out. A beautiful reflex block going to allow Hello Kitty to get through here. But now with Riesco returning to the lane, dropping that Imperial Sigil, it is going to be Lightning T trading 2 for 1 and actually gets out alive, including getting some ambient gold here out of the jungle. Lightning T is playing like a monster right now.
Yeah, he's been able to kind of sneak past the stage where he runs into a couple of issues. He's also picked up the Poison Shiv, which is a massively useful item for their side. They'll be able to cut down the healing from the Rona. Basically, the entire side of Hazard is this brawly, skirmishy team that has a lot of good sustain built in. You've got the Reap, you've got, the amount of lifesteal that Rona built up off the Serpent's Mask, and then you've got the natural sustain out of Nice's shot and just the shields and just how tanky and difficult it is to guard. Now that Lightning T has the Poison Shiv and is in a reasonably good spot where he can kind of stand around and brawl a bit, he's going to cut down all of that healing, and that's going to allow Standing Solo's damage to kind of stick where it wouldn't before.
Yeah, definitely, as well as it's going to provide a little bit of additional sustain to Glaive, as well as being able to cut down some of the healing coming out of Hazard. And important to make note, Hello Kitty has gone with the Serpent's Mask, which is what we typically see on Rona, but that is going to not allow him to have the Poison Shiv in his build, or would rather be ineffective to, since the actual, the Vampirism, that lifesteal, does not stack. Could very well see it still, as well as he's okay because he has that Mortal Wound in the Foe Splitter, but it's not quite as consistent as the Poison Shiv, which is a little bit of a downfall. Now Erica Kane cleaning out the jungle, but Necrolite is rotating down. Could we see a fight here over the gold mine? Nicest shot knows this is going on. Erica Kane is on the way over. That fearsome shade is available, but Hello Kitty's quite far away. Gonna go ahead and clean out that wave. Sees that Necrolite is pulling off the gold mine, and not gonna have to rush over at this point. But overall, Necrolite's been doing a great job, but Hazard definitely still in a seat that they could win out on this game. Here comes Hello Kitty on to Stan and Solo, getting a lot of burst damage down. There's the Into the Fray. It has forced Scarf back unfavorably, and he has taken a lot of damage. Now, Lightning T looking to find some damage as well, but Stan and Solo has dropped. There goes the fountain out of Arden, and just like that, Hazard has found one. They found two, and they are looking for Riesco. That's three. That's a Crystal Sentry. That's probably a turret and a gold mine as well, Source.
Yeah, Hazard has been doing a good job of dictating the pace of the game. What's been working out for Necrolite is very good responses to those initial plays from Hazard. They've been able to punish them. They were able to set up that siege where the members of Hazard got a little over eager, stepped up, and got poked down. Hazard, on the other hand, has just been kind of aggressing endlessly, and now I think Hello Kitty is starting to feel more confident now that he has the breaking point. That build is kind of coming together. Just needs to get a little bit tankier. Maybe finds a bit more damage, but honestly, I don't know if they need it, and they can kind of let the Batiste start racking up a little bit more damage, and the team will just be difficult to kill as a whole. They just still need to move very much as a group, because now that they're out of position, this is going to be a free turret going over Necrolite off of a good rotation. Fearsome Shade is out, but it didn't really get that much value.
Now it didn't. Stan and Solo finding some damage, but oh no, Glaive gets stunned up by the Ordained. Stan and Solo getting dropped again. Hello Kitty doing such a great job in this mid game on the Rona. I think they find Lightning T here as well, and now Riesco is gonna have to get out of here, and Hello Kitty is on the chase. Can he find the kill? A couple hits could do, but he's underneath the turret. Riesco got the speed buff coming out of his Imperial Sigil, and he's gonna make it out alive, but Hazard have evened this game up 7-7, as well as could potentially take a gold lead off this push as well. There we go. There it is. 100 gold now in their favor. It's not a lot, but since they were down 2,500 gold, I mean, feeling a little bit more comfortable now.
I mean, the moment the Rona gets Serpent's Mask plus Breaking Point, that is a power spike. Has also now picked up the Sorrow Blade, so Rona's pretty much doing all the damage he's going to do, but that's a significant amount of damage, and Standing Solo can't stay still for very long. That means it's hard to channel the Dragon's Breath. It's hard to do any significant damage. That's a good knockback, but they need to be careful with the re-engage.
Yeah, they absolutely do. It's Hazard a little bit on the back foot right now, as Necrolite definitely has a health advantage. Nicest Shot has the fountain, has taken a lot of damage. There's the Ordained. They lock off Lightning T. Nicest Shot has held this fountain for a long time, but now Hello Kitty is on to Stan and Solo. A good afterburn out of Lightning T, gonna separate them off. There's the fountain finally procced, and Hello Kitty is coming back in one more time. They find Riesco. Can they find the rest? Into the fray over the wall, looking to get another advantage up here. There's the Batiste taking down Glaive, and now it's a 2-for-1 trade, and Hazard, they could look to poke Stan and Solo out here, taking a couple turret shots. They don't have the greatest wave in front of them, so they're gonna have to back off. But again, Hazard, they get 2 kills. They do drop out on Hello Kitty, who jumped back in maybe a little bit too flavorously in front of Stan and Solo, but still not the worst trade for them, as they're extending their gold lead a little bit. And again, this Glaive just is not having the impact we once saw.
Well, the raw damage isn't there, and so Glaive has a few too many targets that are self-sustaining. They're slowly having to worry more and more about this Batiste and the burst damage that he's doing. If all you had to worry about was putting the Mortal Wound on the Hello Kitty, they could probably burn through the Rona. They'd be able to get the damage. The problem they're running into is Rona is getting on top of all 3 of them, getting off the spin, getting the breaking point stacks. Ooh, okay, so Lightning T's not built a breaking point. That might work if the fight goes long like it did the last time. And Nicest Shot had to hold that fountain to get actual value out of it for a very long time. That could be the kind of fight that they need, this super long extended fight where they're able to kind of force Hello Kitty to break off, lose his breaking point stacks, while Lightning T is kind of hitting the Arden as a target dummy. They get that going, and I think they can burst through Erica Kane and Hello Kitty. But if Hello Kitty keeps getting these pretty much free fights where he's able to just dish out continuous damage and gets off pretty much free spins, Standing Solo won't survive long enough. And Standing Solo has, he's close to getting that 3rd item, which will kind of tell us where the build is going. Either it's the Broken Myth or the Dragon's Eye. One of those two is gonna kind of spike his damage up fairly high, and attempted steal, but it won't go through.
Yeah, Riesco in a rough spot now that Arcane Passage is already used. Here comes the Gauntlet, and it's not looking good for the side of Necrolite. They're getting forced back. Hello Kitty's going to find a kill onto Stand Solo. Obviously, they did just pick up that Kraken as well. Hello Kitty going to go ahead and take that Treant as well to top off his health a little bit, as well as looking for kills here. They're not quite able to find him. Riesco actually made a really smart play here. So he did use a minion candy on that Crystal Sentry, and it's Lightning T in the lane working on this Kraken, but without the dragon, that little scarf to help him, it is just a slow uphill battle. It's a red mist coming out of Hello Kitty, gonna negate some of that damage out of Lightning T. And now, Stand Solo back on the map. They should be able to take this Kraken down a little bit earlier, but Lightning T goes pretty far, has taken a lot of damage. Fearsome Shade is essentially gonna whiff, but Lightning T has to be so cautious here. He's so hurt. Another Ordained coming down onto Riesco, and it's just a matter of time. Hazard bring down that choke point. Necrolite is gonna get the Kraken down, but you know, at what cost? Your base is now cracked wide open for the side of Hazard. You're already down a game, and again, Glaive just not having the game-changing experience that we used to see out of him, and Stand Solo struggling to get the third offensive item online, not quite having the damage that we need to see out of a Scarf. The game is getting later and later. We're almost 18 minutes into the game without a third tier 3 online for the Scarf.
Yeah, I mean, sitting on 1,400 gold, so the item is close. You know, the item should come through, but not for at least another two or three more minutes, unless he's willing to sell something. He's also got upgraded boots, so you know, you think about that, plus you know, picking up that additional armor. There's a couple of moments there where his item has been deviated, and since that early set of kills has pretty much been under continuous pressure since Hello Kitty got that breaking point. It's pretty much been the Hello Kitty show, which is not a phrase I ever thought I would say in the middle of commentary, but that's just the way it goes.
Stand Solo has got that broken myth online, but we talk about it. He's differentiated his build going into some armor, upgrading his boots. Look at Erica Kane, 4 tier 3s complete, including one of them being a metal jacket. So you can definitely see that the build is quite a bit behind right now for Stand Solo. One could argue the reflex block, obviously, it might be a little bit even in the gold. But as far as the damage coming out, it's Erica Kane, Erica Kane, Erica Kane. Hello Kitty doing a good job getting in and building up the breaking point stacks as well. But those big 600 damage spikes we see out of this Baptiste, we're not seeing out of the Scarf. And because he's had to prioritize defense early, you can throw it at that way that he's not going to get to a 4-item offense build. He's going to be just sitting with 3 offensive items, and none of them are going to be the Dragon's Eye, which is going to make it difficult for him to ramp up. So I didn't really feel it in the draft that the Glaive was going to be all that effective, but the Scarf, because he's in the jungle, has just not been able to come online soon enough, and I think Necrolite might be ready to pay for that mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that Lightning T gets off a great team fight where he builds up those 20 stacks, and they're able to find the initial damage, pick off Erica Kane, or isolate Hello Kitty. But now you're asking for a lot more things to go their way.
Yeah, Gauntlet is down. Here comes the second Gauntlet. Can Necrolite find the fight they've been looking for? Glaive is Atlas. Hello Kitty is onto all 3 members with that red mist. I think Stand Solo is getting ready to drop. There he goes. Riesco is soon to fall as well, and Hazard now chasing down Lightning T. The Ordain is down. That's 3 kills. That's an ace going over to Hazard. Only 2 turrets between them and a victory. They might just push to close this one out.
Yeah, it's a difficult composition for them to be able to play against when Lightning T, has to take more time to be able to stack up, and Hello Kitty pretty much gets those stacks instantly. And the damage is there, and it's been good coordination out of Hazard. Outside of that early play they had where they got a little over aggressive in the jungle, they've done a good job. Is the moment they felt that they had the ability to fight, kind of had that control, they've been taking fights aggressively back to back, and never really giving Necrolite an opportunity to catch their breath.
They absolutely didn't, and Hazard gonna go ahead and close this one out as a 2-0 victory over Necrolite, taking down another team that has such a high seeding advantage. They've come in and they've proved themselves incredibly well.
Yeah, it was a good series of plays, a little, some moments a little unconventional, but this composition had a very straightforward set of win conditions, get that run into team fight stage, and they managed to do that fairly quickly, and then abuse the fact that standing solo, had to be that massive damage threat where Lightning T, despite having some moments of glory, was basically a lackluster player on that glaive. Not that he couldn't do it himself, but because the glaive limited his options as to how he could approach the fights.
Absolutely, and to help us break that one down and maybe touch on, where Necrolite is going here for the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, they are down, but not 100% out. We're going to be heading over to talk with Dragonborn.
Hey, thanks Denomine, and thanks everybody. Wow, what a series. That is another series going the way of Hazards in an unexpected fashion. This team has come out of nowhere, and at this point, Denomine, we really can't talk about, are they going against stronger teams or weaker teams, or the team's not their full lineup, because this was Necrolite playing with their lineup. This was their starting lineup, this was them playing at their best, and they just crumbled like a house of cards really quickly, and it's unfortunate for Necrolite indeed. Now, they're not out of it, Denomine, as you were alluding to. They are dropping down to the elimination bracket, and hopefully with a chance to get back in to the challenge battles, but now their path in front of them is going to be that much harder. Team Hazards, they are moving to the winner semifinals matchup that's going to take place tomorrow. After this series, they are in great shape, Denomine. This is an incredible feat. It's never happened before for a 32nd team to ever get this far. For any team not in the top 8 or top 10 to make it this far, it's really, truly an accomplishment. Well,
Kardashians were 12 seed last season, so... and then I think at one point, Y Fighters were an 11 seed.
That is true, yeah. So Kardashians were the lowest.
But they weren't through the winner's bracket, right?
No, they did get knocked down to elimination bracket, had to play all the way up through. So that was, they played a lot of matches to get through that series last split. That being said, Denomine, that was a roster of players that we had a lot of history knowing. These guys were all-stars in their own right at certain points of the competitive scene and certain points of VG history. So, these guys played their best, but now you've got a roster of people that, very few people in the top at the competitive level know a lot about. And this element of surprise, it's definitely going to be difficult to, get a finger on how this team's going to react. That being said, guys, we're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be getting back into the action, getting ready for our second series of the night. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after this.
$14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey, welcome back everybody. We are getting ready for our second series of the day as we kick off the playoffs here in the Challenger Series in the autumn season. And wow, I mean, just coming off a crazy upset, Team Hazards continuing their steamroll through the Challengers. It's almost not even a Cinderella story at this point to nominate because they're just blowing through the competition like it's nothing here. But let's get into our next matchup. This one is one that I'm particularly excited for because these are two teams that really have a lot of potential as well, and teams that really have a massive expectation going up against Hazards should they win this matchup tonight. Vision Gaming, GG. They've been playing very well, blowing through their bracket as well, and an Echo Fox coming in. They were the #1 seed last season, and now they have a chance to reclaim that here after a shaky split one. Denominated, these are our rosters getting for the game, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Oh, absolutely. And I really think this is going to be a very close and intense matchup. Now, obviously, both of these teams have had really strong games where we look at them and they're like, wow, they really performed well. But they've also had games where, you know, we question their consistency quite a bit. That's something we find ourselves talking about quite frequently, especially here in VIS, is your consistency is going to be what gets you all the way to the top. Being the more consistent team is usually the more favorable of compliments we could give you. And you know, you just touched on it a little bit. Echo Fox did have a pretty shaky split one, whereas Vision Gaming, they were looking really good all through split one, and they've looked really good all through split two thus far as well. So I think I got to give them that edge. I think they're very close in skill, but I think Vision brings their A game to the table much more frequently.
All right, well, we're getting into draft here for this first game to nominate. Sorry for that slight pause, as we already have Catherine's the first ban, and Vision Gaming goes with Lyra first. They leave Blackfeather open. Echo Fox does too, so what's going on here? Why don't prioritize Blackfeather first pick?
It's definitely interesting route, to say the least, but we'll just have to see what they're going to pull together. As you know, obviously that Blackfeather, when you have these picks off the table, can be a very potent combination to have. And I'm not finding the draft right now, Dragon. I'm just going off of what you told me.
All right, well, it should be there. There could be a slight issue with it. If that's the case, you know what? Then we'll just carry on. I'll carry on with the draft to nominate until we get through it. But it is going to be a Jewel ban. So Vision Gaming banning Catherine and Jewel and pick up the Lyra. Kestrel was banned by Echo Fox. So right now, Lyra and Arden are the two picks. Echo Fox now thinking... about what they're going to go with here next. And they go with a Cruel.
All right, I logged out and logged back in, and I think I got it now. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Alrighty, so yeah, with the Rhyme off the table, I'm kind of surprised the Blackfeather wasn't picked and then you could have banned away the Rona. specifically on the Echo Fox side. Since they are on B side, they get that immediate ban after they pick. But with the Kroll picked in here now, this does make it a little bit difficult to pick either the Rona or the Blackfeather. So that is something they do have going for them. So Vision Gaming are burning out a little bit of time here. And if we look at picks that are good into the Kroll right now, they are things that we've seen at least Kaz pull out before with some good success. A couple patches ago was the Sky. Can be pretty decent into the Kroll if you're doing well with your repositioning and your Suri strikes. But takes quite a bit of time to actually come online as well. They are just going to go with the Vox. This will likely be PvP Trinity in the lane on Vox. Obviously, we've seen them kind of jump back and forth depending on their comfort on certain heroes. But definitely feeling like a PvP Trinity pick here. And then now getting into this last pick, they've only got about 40 seconds. They do have obviously that 28 seconds of bonus time. And they probably are going to use it right now because that Kroll is looking scary, staring you in the face.
Well, it's scary, but I do like with the Lyra pickup what they could do here because Lyra has the bulwark that kind of slows Cruel down a little bit. So now they have an opportunity, maybe with some crowd control out of this next pick, some slow. They could go with like a Scarf that usually blocks up. They are finally going to pick the Blackfeather. And I don't know if Blackfeather particularly is amazingly better than Cruel, but what it does mean is Blackfeather could try to get in, burst Cruel down. If he doesn't succeed, he at least could get out of that fight. And Lyra is going to be a huge factor in helping him do that.
Well, I don't think the Blackfeather's really looking to get in onto the Kroll. I think it's going to be a Crystal Jungle Blackfeather for Kaz. He is likely just going to look to make Kroll's life just like a living nightmare, taking that big poke damage before he's able to come in with the Dead Man's Rush, and that can definitely make it unfavorable position for a Kroll to fight, especially when you have the Lyra as well, like you were mentioning. That Bright Bulwark, the ability to slow the Kroll down, can be a useful tool as well. So now looking over at the side of Echo Fox, they've got a couple options available to them. I think with the Kestrel off the table, it is a very difficult pick for Selena Gomez, as the Vox and the Kestrel are really the picks that we see him do the best on, with maybe that runner-up one being the Blackfeather, and that's taken away too. So rough spot for Echo Fox to be in.
Yeah, but we've seen Selena Gomez really increase his hero pool, and he's actually pulled out over the course of the last 2 weeks some impressive picks. Now we are going to see a Saw, and this is going to be a completely different Saw push comp than what we saw earlier today. That one had a bursty jungler. Now you've got a little slower sustained jungler, but both had Arden. And I will say that might be an important distinction as we get into this matchup.
Yeah, still maybe not like the ultimate playmaking composition. Definitely has a lot of early game aggression that we have to be worried about. But, you know, again, these are two teams that have been looking incredibly good for the past couple of weeks. So we'll just have to see who's able to get it together. It's going to be very difficult for PvP Trinity to farm the lane here on this box, as well as the Crystal Blackfeather takes quite a bit of time to come online. I mean, you know, you're talking about getting to level 8, getting a Shatter Glass, working into a second item before Blackfeather really becomes a threat. And Saw is going to love that. Like, Saw is going to love having to go up against a jungler who is not efficient at coming up and getting really, really aggressive ganks.
I mean, it's definitely a different scenario. When we saw last one, he didn't have to worry about Blackfeather. He didn't have to worry about that assassination as much. And so that's something that's going to be a huge factor in this matchup. I think that, honestly, I like Vision's draft. I think what they have is a better overall composition. But we've seen it all too often, Denominate, is this Saw pick. If it starts to snowball, it becomes really unmanageable for even some of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, it definitely can. And, you know, again, with a Crystal Blackfeather, you know, your idea is to poke. You know, a Vox is not going to want to get right on top of Saw. A Lyra is a ranged captain who is actually quite squishy for being a captain. None of these heroes really excel at getting onto Saw and getting an Atlas down because, again, Crystal Blackfeather wants to poke before a fight. So it's all going to be about that poke and then making a commitment.
All right, well, we're getting into this matchup, game number 1 between Vision Gaming GG and Echo Fox. We're going to kick it over to our casters, Denominate and The Source, to get us into the action.
All right, Source, we're back with Vision versus Echo Fox. And Selena Gomez has pulled out the Saw, a hero that has come all of it so aggressive in the meta here. Obviously, with some changes to health bars, as well as some changes to the fact that Saw now has an additional 50% attack power at level 12. He went from low 80s to now, I think it's 127. So, that's a pretty sizable gain, and it makes that crit build that he has just so potent.
Yeah, add that to the triple weapon blade in his inventory. That is some aggressive early pressure. And Arden definitely makes Saw's life a lot easier. Selena Gomez should have very little trouble being able to push up this lane consistently and pressure out PvP Trinity. Question is going to be is how much value they get off of this CP Blackfeather, which we saw before but didn't. It felt a little lackluster. It feels that weapon power Blackfeather is really where you find that solid success. And with Irwin on the Kroll, maybe we see a very strong level 6 spike, and that's when that first turret goes down. Unless Selena Gomez feels that he can push things through much sooner.
Yeah, definitely something Saw is capable of, and for a long time, it was revered that if you don't have the first turret down by 6 minutes, the most ideal situation is, between that 2.5 and 4 minute mark is, really where a Saw can get that kind of push in, and, that's where that snowball really starts. Against a composition that takes so long to scale up, this is going to give Selena Gomez quite a bit of freedom in the lane. And, we already see this lane getting pushed, and with more damage in his kit, as well as less health on that first turret, it's very possible they take this one down early.
Yeah, definitely have to be aware of Cause. Looking to go in, puts a little bit of damage.
Selena Gomez stuck around there for a long time, never used the roadie run to escape, and that's a little bit questionable. Is looking just to out-damage the side of Vision, I guess, but giving a first blood over, it did go on to Shade of Talent, but, giving anything over early is really not what you want to do as a Saw. You want that early game to be yours.
Yeah, but walking back into lane with the heavy steel, I don't see things being that much of a problem for Selena Gomez. It's an initial hiccup, but as long as that first turret goes down in the next 2 minutes, should still be on track, on schedule to that kind of Saw power spike, and the minion candy comes out from PvP Trinity to slow that down just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's good use of a minion candy, but Saw still making short work of that wave as well, not missing a single one there. And now with the wave pushing up, there's the suppressing fire to keep the stacks built up, and they are looking to just make life difficult for PvP Trinity at this point. Selena Gomez does take a bit of poke there and has to be careful. There's so much more sustain right now on the side of Vision. Selena Gomez almost drops again from being just too aggressive. Again, this is where Vision really does have an edge over Foxes. They have looked like the more consistent team, and it's already showing here in the first couple minutes as, they're looking to get some aggression of their own down now as well. We are 4 minutes into the game, and they have now forced Saw out of the lane. Irwin is forced to rotate up as a level 5 Kroll, and that's a good push there by Vision. Saw is now going to miss quite a bit of CS here in the lane.
Yeah, and not picking up the Book of Eulogies makes it so Selena Gomez, yes, has that initial damage, gets towards that crit build faster, but although everybody is very much in belief of this high damage crit build Saw, you have to pay attention to where that makes you vulnerable. Even if you pick up the Book of Eulogies in the early stage of the game, the fact that Serpent's Mask is no longer the popular build means that there is a lull in Saw's sustainability. And it's a very, clear and abusable timing. It's not as if this is difficult for teams to figure out. They all know how to play Saw. They understand when you can put him under pressure, and teams are doing a very good job of abusing that and making it difficult for Saw in the early game. Now, we did see in the previous series that Saw was able to easily make the comeback once the damage came through, but it is still a worry for Selena Gomez, as that's a great break to keep him in place.
Yeah, it definitely is, and Selena Gomez drops again. Vision Gaming making short work of Irwin as well. And with another minion candy popped, it looks like Vision might just look to get this first turret. And with only Arden here, then we should be looking pretty good.
Yeah, free first turret, 3 kills on the side of Vision, just taking it slow, not letting Saw get into his rhythm and also abusing him very, very early. I think, again, because there was no Serpent's Mask, because there was no sustain, down go the Imperial Sigils, and that means PvP Trinity is pretty much at full health, whereas Selena Gomez doesn't really have that luxury. And so first turret goes over to Vision Gaming, and now the Saw is in a little bit of trouble. The 6 minutes is approaching. It's still possible to get that turret, but every time they stepped up, they've gotten knocked down.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's due to just a little bit of over-positioning coming out of Selena Gomez, as well as you mentioned, not going with that Book of Eulogies does make it a little bit difficult for the Saw to sustain, specifically with a Lyra on the other team, but they come through with a kill there. The Suppressing Fire going to go ahead and take down Shaded Talent, but Kaz with some good poke is onto Selena Gomez. They find another kill. They're looking for Irwin. The boots are used, and Kaz is on the chase. Can they find this one? He's going to be able to turn his attention onto Kaz, but that's another kill going over to the side of Vision. Kaz cleans up number 4 for the team. PvP Trinity with 5 assists. So both the carries have 100% kill participation, and that is where you want to be. But for the side of Fox, this is not looking good. This double weapon composition early is just not having the effect that they were hoping. Shaded Talent has gone with the Crucible first to get those Imperial Sigils, really healing up well. And then already, there was a 6-minute Atlas Pauldron that came out of Shaded Talent here.
Yeah, Selena Gomez is going to be in a very rough spot. Also combine that with the fact that Irwin went for the Poison Shiv early, which is a good item, but really needs to be the second one after getting the Tension Bow. You need that, with a double weapon power composition. You need that armor break to let Selena Gomez really open up and dish out significant damage before, the Poison Shiv and the Breaking Point come in for Irwin as the game gets later, and then he's able to sustain through the team fights. Really, we've seen Selena Gomez try and kind of pub stomp this a little bit, step up, get the abusive Saw damage in there, and it's really been knocked down by just every time he shows up, every member from the side of Vision Gaming show up to answer. Out
There's
the
wait
Can
for
they
it.
engage?
Here we go. Shaded Talent's in with the Bright Bulwark, but it's PvP Trinity that's taken a lot of damage. So is Selena Gomez. I think everyone's just going to pretty much have to get out of this. Oh my gosh, Kaz with a great on point, going to bring Selena Gomez down low. He is sustaining through. He uses the Rose offensive to get into a more favorable position, finds one more on point to get the kill. But now PvP Trinity is on the run here. Irwin doing so much, but without the Spectral Smites, not able to clean up the kill. Shaded Talent is looking for it. The Imperial Sigil is down just before the Vanguard makes it to Krull. He's going to get that kill, and just like that, Vision Gaming, when it looked like PvP Trinity was going to drop, they find another kill, 7-2, with a 5,000, almost 5,000 gold lead here already at 8.5 minutes into a Saw source. This is unbelievable.
Well, it's a Saw they were able to abuse early, and we see how much damage that Kaz is doing. So this is pretty much a glass cannon Saw. He's picked up a little bit of shield, but the way, you expect to be ahead on Saw, you expect to be dictating the pace of the game on Saw. And now that Kaz has got the Shatterglass plus the Broken Myth, he's just shredding straight through Selena Gomez. And so Selena Gomez, honestly, in my opinion, needs to cut that crit build short, and after that Tyrant's Monocle comes in, build a Serpent's Mask. They just need the sustain. They can't survive the fights long enough. Look at the burst.
Bulwark comes down a little bit soon. Selena Gomez is ramped up. The Atlas Pauldron is blocked. This is an opportunity for Fox. Kaz has burned everything. Irwin is onto PvP Trinity. Can they get the kill? Slata is onto Kaz. They're now onto PvP Trinity. That's a kill going over to the side of Fox. Slata is going to pick that one up. And now it's Shaded Talent on the run. Half health, low energy. Can he make it out? He doesn't have enough for the Imperial Sigil. The Arcane Passage is down. Here comes Fox. There's the Vanguard to get him into position. And I think that's another kill now going over to Fox. They bring it up 4-7. And just like that, a game that was looking so much in Vision's favor, thanks to some fancy footwork on a Selena Gomez and a good block on that Atlas Pauldron. They're able to find a fight. They may even be able to find a gold mine, but Kaz is here, and that's something they got to be worried about.
Yeah, Echo Fox got huge amounts of value on being able to keep Selena Gomez spun up and doing continuous damage. That was just so much value for them. And now they'll take away the gold miner as well. I don't know if they want to follow up on this fight.
I don't think they do. Selena Gomez is pretty hurt. One good on point coming out of Kaz could spell demise for the Saw. He might even be looking for it here. On point a little bit too early. Is going to give that that Treant over now to the Saw. And with the minion candied Crystal Sentry here, Kaz has to be so careful. Look at the damage it's doing. Also providing a slow. He's going to use Zero's offensive to get out. But that is something that they have to be worried about, is if they fight underneath that sentry and it does get minion candied, that is very much so a fourth carry on the, or a third carry on the side of Fox. And, Fox at this point are really just looking for anything they can. Selena Gomez, again, such a great job in the last fight blocking up the Atlas. And if he can continue to do so, they definitely still stand a chance. So I think if you're the side of Vision, I think you have to get a second Atlas Pauldron out here soon so that you can almost guarantee you get that slow off.
Yeah, you do have to eventually be worried about Slada picking up the Crucible and kind of cutting that in half. But I mean, I ragging on Selena Gomez's build, but managed to kind of make it work, and just has to survive the fights long enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Vision Gaming looking to push up this turret, but Fox is coming. Here's Irwin. He has the Shadows Empowered Me. He's going to get snared up by the Bulwark, and that's going to give a turret over to Vision Gaming. They're now up 2 objectives against the Saw, and that's an incredibly comfortable spot for them to be in. Here comes the Gauntlet, though, and Selena Gomez blocks out another Atlas Pauldron. Can he find the kill? Irwin is dropped very low himself. The Fountain is going to come out. They are going to be able to make it out alive. And now Kaz could be looking to come in here. There's the From Hell's Heart. Kaz is now locked up. Is he going to make it out? They find a kill onto Irwin. They're looking for Selena Gomez. PvP Trinity has taken the Arcane Passage, and Selena Gomez used the Roadie Run looking for the kill, has dropped the stacks, and Imperial Sigil going to give a little bit of extra health there to PvP Trinity. And they might be looking for a choke point turret now. They're up 10-4. They're up 5,000 gold, and they're looking to make that 6. And they are going to do so. Will they even be able to find Slade? A healing flask was used. Kaz is onto him, but they're not quite able to find the damage. The Fountain is still down for 20 seconds out of Slade, but again, that flask on the Captain, it is 30% of your health as barrier and then also regeneration. And that's able to get him out alive. And they hold on by a thread. They still have 2 turrets. It's not looking good. They're down 3 turrets with a Saw, and that's just not where you want to be.
Yeah, they need to find the space to get the push going, but I don't really see Vision Gaming allowing for that right now. They've done a very good job of kind of caging Selena Gomez, not allowing for the Saw to really have any prominence in lane to be able to farm up fairly significantly. Is looking at that second Tyrant's Monocle and getting deeper into the build. PvP Trinity is already pretty much full build at this point. Could pick up one more damage item. Hasn't had any need to pick up the reflex block.
I think there's very much a need to pick up the reflex block and do a Gauntlet and a From Hell's Heart.
Well, he's been able to position well enough that he hasn't needed it just yet. I would say picking it up sooner rather than later will just let them, be able to chase down Selena Gomez more, but didn't need the shield. So just because they didn't need the actual defensive stat, I feel like it was okay for him to hold off on it.
Another Atlas Pauldron blocked out by Selena Gomez there. He's getting so much damage. There's that block coming out of Shaded Talent, gonna prevent the From Hell's Heart. That probably just saved PvP Trinity's life, and they can look to keep up the aggression now. Selena Gomez has dropped off all those stacks, and here's Vision Gaming on the chase. Instead, they're gonna turn their attention to the jungle, take a half rotation out from Fox. Might even look to start up the gold mine here and force a fight. Slada and Irwin are on their way over with Selena Gomez. They've turned their attention on quickly. There's the Bright Bulwark. The suppressing fire is down. Selena Gomez is now at full stacks. He doesn't have a reflex block for 8 more seconds, and that is something that has to be made note of. The stacks are falling off as he's on the run. It looks like they're going to be able to find Slada here. There's one. Kaz is impressive. 8-1 here with 2 assists. They take down a Crystal Sentry as well, and now they'll probably look to start up the crystals or the gold mine after spending some of this gold in their pocket. With Slated down, it's super risky for Selena Gomez to come over and try to pick a fight.
Yeah, and it's just hard for Saw to really find any space to position. I mean, maybe if the Gauntlet comes down, at the start of the fight, and that allows Selena Gomez to do something, but he's being chased.
Yeah, he is. They're finding a lot of damage, but I think Slada just made it possible for Selena Gomez. Oh my god! PvP Trinity with a good dive there, able to find the kill. He's doing such a good job. He is going into that 4th offensive item. You did mention that earlier, Source. So they're just looking to keep the aggression up as much as possible now and try to close this one out. They didn't take the gold mine because the Kraken was spawning, but, they might be looking to start it up now with Selena Gomez down. Irwin and Slata, they can't really make a strong contest. What makes Kroll so good at securing a Kraken is that he's already in the fight. He already has the stacks built up. That's not the case when he's trying to come in for a steal. Vision Gaming going to get that Kraken, and that is now going to top up Kaz and PvP Trinity's health. Shaded Talent, however, took a little bit of damage and is not going to get that energy topped off as, Irwin and Slata did a good job canceling his buff there.
Yeah, and you're able to go that fourth offensive item on PvP Trinity because there is no magic damage. Yes, you might like a reflex block, but Shaded Talent's done a very good job of knowing exactly when to use his Crucible and block out that additional damage. Additional damage in heavy CC. This just lets Vox kind of play his own style and pick up a possible additional damage. It's not really going to come through. We're not going to see that item in full, actually be finished. But here goes the gauntlet.
Yeah, here we go. That's a very defensive gauntlet if I've ever seen one. Shaded Talent, more than happy to be the only member of his team locked in there. And here's the damage coming out from Vision. There's the wait for it. And Saw did actually get Atlas in that last fight, so that's huge for the amount of damage he's able to put out. I think Vision Gaming have done it. They just need to focus on the crystal. There we go. Vision Gaming taking game number 1 over Echo Fox. That was such an amazing game coming out of Vision, able to take the advantage early over the Saw.
Yeah, they did a great job of shutting down the Saw just by having everybody show up at the right time. Now they got that first kill on him, but every time Selena Gomez stepped back up, there was just a quick rotation in from Kaz just to put pressure, and then more often than not, they actually found those kills. So that's just a good showing of how you can coordinate to bring down the Saw, even if you don't necessarily have, something that immediately answers him in the early game.
And to let us get into game number 2, we're going to be jumping over with Dragonborn again. And man, Dragon, what a crazy game coming out of Vision there.
Hey, Denominate, thanks so much. Yeah, that was a really strong performance by Vision Gaming in that matchup, and of course, they are the number 2 seed. They're one of the highest seeds left at the top here, and they're showing you exactly why that is. And Echo Fox are going to have to come back and go back to the drawing boards and figure something out. We've seen the sub push comp come out an awful lot, and it just hasn't been effective all the time. When it is effective, it's really strong, but man, if you don't get that early lead quick enough, you're on the back foot right away, and that's exactly what happened to Echo Fox. So as we get ready for this game number 2, Echo Fox is going to have to sit down and think about how they're going to handle this.
Yeah, they definitely do. That was, definitely not the outcome they were looking for. The sustain coming out of Lyra was just so much there in the early game. It allowed the side of Vision to come online very early on, and typically we don't see a Crystal Blackfeather have a whole lot of early game aggression, but when you get as far ahead as early as you did, it made it very easy for Vision to come through on that game. And again, if you're a Saw and you've lost 2 turrets at 7 minutes and haven't taken down 1, that is really not a good situation to be in. And Shaded Talent really came out as a star there in that game. I mean, that's probably the best I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, he really, the whole team as a whole, but he coming in very, very clutch. Now, we talked about it, this is the difference from that game we saw earlier when we saw the Saw push composition come out. You didn't have a Blackfeather on the enemy side, and that Blackfeather allows the poke, and you were talking about the poke that you're able to come in, and then eventually wear the Saw and the Cruel down to the point where they just don't have enough health bar left in the tank to be able to finish out that fight. And so, when that happens, you're kind of stuck without a paddle up a creek. And Echo Fox now probably going to be seeing a completely different draft out of them as we get into this next game.
The draft begins.
Yeah, and again, I think Vision did a good job of drafting Selena out of his comfort. You know, you mentioned it that he has worked a bit on his hero pool, but his comforts, his favorites were taken away from him. And I think that really put him in an uncomfortable position. And now it's Fox. They've decided to ban the Lyra away. And again, Shaded Talent did have a amazing performance on this hero. Really changed the game and the way everything kind of came together. And the Saw now taken off the board by Vision. And I don't think the Saw really had a ban-worthy impact. So I think this is probably more so them just saying, okay, you've banned away the Lyra. We know if we ban away one of the power picks, you're going to get one as well. So the Rhyme is picked up, and now this does leave a couple things open. The Blackfeather is open, and the Rona are open, but they're not the best heroes into Rhyme, so they go with the Kestrel.
Yeah, and we see the Kestrel come out, and this is a great counter to Rhyme. It's a poke, and we'll see either another poke hero come out. We may see the Blackfeather, although I have to imagine Echo Fox will ban it here. Likely Vision won't. They'll try to see if they're going to be able to pick it up, but it's pretty infrequently where it doesn't get banned through the second round.
Absolutely. We'll just have to see what they decide to go with. They've used up all of their regular time on the ban and are now spending some of their bonus time to think about what they want to do. Obviously, the Rhyme at very high win percent. There aren't a whole lot of heroes that deal with him very well. But again, targeting Selena's hero pool. The Kestrel is picked up by Vision and the Vox is banned away. So there's, it's kind of a rough spot for Selena to be in. Again, has worked on the hero pool, but his comforts are where he excels the most. And an Arden is now banned away. So they're doing a very good job targeting Shaded's hero pool, but it's going to be a Cath.
So, interestingly enough, the Arden ban here, this is directly to ensure that you're not getting that Rhyme choked up between two gauntlets, which, Rhyme's a little slow. He's not going to be, he likes to stay on his target. Arden's actually great at peeling you off that. The Catherine comes in here, but Catherine, good. You do want crowd control against Rhyme, but he's so tanky that once he gets that fortified health build, he can still be very hard to bring down. It doesn't just disappear right away. So now Echo Fox here on the clock, they have to kind of think about how they want to go into Kestrel. Blackfeather again making it through the first 5 picks of the ban, picks, bans, and well, no, not 5 actually. It was like 7 bans and picks here, all the way here to the second round, Denominate. So again, we've seen A side get Blackfeather last game, but that's only because it made it all the way to the last pick.
Yeah, and I think if you are the side of Fox, you kind of know you're going Grace here, or at least that's the captain that makes the most sense. So they're spending a lot of time picking what they want their carry to be. So actually they've gone with the Fortress, and that's a little interesting to me. It does work well into the Kestrel. You can block out some of those Glimmer shots. But with Shaded Talent on Catherine, there's likely going to be a Silence that follows it up, as well as with the Kestrel, there's a lot of ability to kite backwards. So they're going to have some time to be able to deal with the Wolves. I think I would have liked to see the Grace come out just for that additional sustain for the Rhyme and whatever your lane you decide to pick. I'd almost say for Selena, the Jewel is probably the only real comfortable pick I feel for him left. And that can be kind of difficult to run into the Catherine. It is good into Kestrel. Blackfeather's going to come out. That's a strong pick. We haven't seen Selena play a whole lot of Blackfeather lately, though.
Yeah, we really haven't. Again, Blackfeather, A-side pick because it's left open. I actually love Fortress with Rhyme. Gives him slightly higher mobility when Fortress is able to, lunge at the enemy. Helps the enemy teams move up. And so with this Vision Gaming now, they need to be very careful with the Rhyme and how this is going to be impacted their gameplay. Typically, Blackfeather, he's just so good in this meta and this composition. We're going to see Vision Gaming pulling out the Cruel. And Denominate, this Cruel did not fare well into Blackfeather Game 1. What can Vision do differently to try to make this work?
I'm not sure it was really the Cruel that didn't work well into Blackfeather. I think the amount of shutdown they had onto the Saw just made it too difficult for Cruel to really have an impact. So Cruel is a very just in-your-face, be annoying, reduce your damage kind of tanky hero. And when you're lacking the damage out of what's going to be your hyper carry, it's very easy for Krull to look like he's not having an effect.
Right.
So that's it. It kind of just depends on how it gets played out here. I think both teams actually have a really good draft. And there's a lot of potential that either team could win this. I actually might even be slightly favoriting the Fox draft here just because the Fortress does make it a little bit difficult for Kestrel. But if they're able to kite back correctly and take down those wolves without actually engaging heavily, then it should swing to Vision. But it's going to be all about the execution that Fox is able to bring out.
Yeah, again, both teams, win conditions, they're there. Teams have to execute on them. We're not going to see that early game stop push comp where you have to make or break those first 5 minutes. In this case, so it really can be, either team with a real clear shot at how they want to approach it. So we're looking forward to getting into this.
Absolutely. So we'll be heading in, and Source. How's it going, man? Who you think it has the better draft here? We're very early on in the game. Nothing has really been decided yet. So, are we feeling Fox has the better draft? Are we feeling Vision has the better draft? What do we need to expect for the win conditions out of these two teams?
You gave Fox Black Feather Rhyme. Just that on its own is very dangerous, and we can see how much Vision is playing cautiously. They're kiting back, and that's Kaz in a lot of trouble.
Man, Kaz gets dropped incredibly fast there. Krull, not the greatest level 1 hero by any means. And Fox, go ahead and take that as a free opportunity to come away and steal away some jungle. That was a really risky call to take a level 1 Krull into a fortress at all. And I think that's Fox taking away an entire jungle rotation now. That's not how Vision wanted to start off.
Yeah, PvP Trinity will get some steals away, going for the back camps. We'll take those and then take the back Treant. But still, you gave up first blood. You really didn't need to. And it's Black Feather and Rhyme, like two of the 3 most banned characters in what has been the last few months. They're incredibly powerful. It's incredibly dangerous to hand over both of those to your opponent. And now Echo Fox, they've got more than enough potential to be able to just play a very standard game. Once they get some more of those items online, they can easily chase down with the attack of the pack and get on top of this weapon power Kestrel, and then things just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I'm actually a little shocked that Kaz went with the Krull just because of the amount of early aggression that's able to come out of the side of Fox, where historically we know Kaz to be very good on picks like the Celeste, picks like the Sky, which we've actually seen have really good performance into the Rhyme. Obviously, the Fortress then shuts down both of your carries, and that's not what you want. But I very well could have seen Kaz pull out the Celeste and just try to make it difficult for Rhyme to make an engagement, even with the Wolves coming out. It very likely would have resulted in PvP Trinity and Shaded Talent both having to go with War Treads to be able to have that kind of disengage. But I don't know how the Krull fares in this matchup, especially in this early and mid game where the Fortress really excels the most. Once we hit that level 6 on Slata, Fox is going to have all sorts of aggression in their belt.
It's not going to be a great time for him in the early game. It's possible there's some mid-game power swings. They get 2 back-to-back from Hell's Heart, combo kills where they get a pick off and then immediately, as soon as the skill's back up, do it again. There's more than enough pick potential. There's massive crowd control for the side of Vision Gaming. They've got the Merciless Pursuit. They've got the Blast Tremor. Once PvP Trinity gets deeper into that build, the crit damage will be there. It's just, can you get to that point? And are you going to survive long enough for PvP Trinity to dish out that damage? You're going to have to get a Blast Tremor incoming or be catching your opponents out with the From Hell's Heart to be able to avoid the fact that Selena Gomez is a weapon power, it's a weapon power Black Feather. That's easy potential to get into the backline and do massive damage.
Yeah, and I think, one of the interesting ways we could see a Krull played here is to just be very sneaky and, try to almost separate yourself from the team so that you can get positioning behind the enemy, make a good kind of pincer attack. We actually saw, I want to say it was Hyde coming out of Tempo Storm, had some really good success in doing so in the VG8, but now Shaded Talent is getting jumped on here. Actually, really early use of the healing flask there. So that's now going to be down for 2 whole minutes, and PvP Trinity needs to make it up here into the lane so he doesn't miss out on any CS. He's coming, he'll get here, but Selena Gomez already has the Poison Shiv online. That's going to allow him some sustain here in the lane, and obviously going to shut down that healing, the fountain coming out of Shaded Talent once he gets that online. Actually should have the gold here pretty soon to do so. He just needs to rotate down to the shop, as Slata already has his fountain online. So if a fight were to break out, Fox has every edge right now.
Yeah, PvP Trinity will have his back stopped, but going with the Poison Shiv early for Selena Gomez means they're ready to shut down the Cruel. They're, not as concerned with Selena Gomez being a massive sustain bot as much as they want to take the Cruel out of the picture and then pretty much leave PvP Trinity to be the only damage source. Or if they burst PvP Trinity, they can slowly whittle their way through Cause. So that's kind of where their strategy is going. They've got, good sustain damage, some decent burst out of Irwin, and double mortal wound is going to give them a lot of value.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just have to see, how exactly both teams are able to execute it. Obviously, we see it right there. The Glimmer Shots can make very short work of Rhyme when he doesn't have any fortified health built up. And, that is something that you have to be cautious about. Now, with 3 heroes that do want to dive onto your backline, it makes it very difficult for those Glimmer Shots to land on the same target consecutively. And that's one of the biggest threats that I think PvP Trinity is going to have to deal with going forward. But they're getting a lot of damage down on this turret early on. Here comes Fortress, and it's just going to be an active camo out of PvP Trinity to get him out safely. But that turret's already down to a 3rd health, and that's a good edge now that Vision Gaming have. And as long as they don't, lose a bad fight and lose out on their first turret, they should get the first objective of the game.
Yeah, and so far Vision Gaming have done a pretty good job of avoiding, letting Echo Fox abuse the strength of their composition. We haven't seen a full-on team fight. We haven't seen what happens when Selena Gomez gets through the backline, but there haven't been any early pickoffs. Irwin hasn't been able to do deep jungle invading like we've seen out of Rhymes in the past. So far, Cause, he's already got the breaking point. The first item is in there for PvP Trinity. It's possible that Cause can now go into his own Poison Shiv and shut down the sustain that's going to be coming out of Irwin, as well as Slata. So, so far, Vision Gaming, they've slowed down the pace. They haven't allowed for the side of Echo Fox to really rattle them and abuse the lack of power that Cause is going to have in the early game.
Yeah, and we do also have to remember Fortress has a mortal wound of his own, especially with the Attack of the Pack coming out. There is definitely a lot more opportunity for Fox to shut down any healing coming out of Vision, but they have to play it safe. Remember, what you talked about at the beginning is there's a lot of kite potential coming out of Vision, out of Kestrel, where if the Attack of the Pack is not used at an opportune moment, it could go to waste very quickly.
Yeah. And one shot, one kill just for a little bit of free damage. It doesn't do all that much, but so far, Vision, they're content just playing things slow. They're not on any kind of clock. They're not on any kind of timer. The weapon power Kestrel can get scary. The Kroll can get, deeper into his build where he feels more confident. But damage deep on a PvP Trinity.
Yeah, definitely a little bit there. Not as much as they were looking for. Obviously, here comes the Attack of the Pack. But again, we're so close to the turret here. I just don't know if this is really an opportune moment to have used that ability. It's already gone now at this point, and I don't know. It's kind of rough now for Fox. They've lost out on that heavy engagement they could have had. But PvP Trinity comes out a little bit too far and gets dropped. And that's the edge that Fox was looking for. Kaz now in a rough spot. He is going to make it out alive, but it's very difficult for him to hold off on this turret, especially as low on health as he is.
Yeah, it's a dangerous position for Cole to try and defend. They may just have to give this one up and accept the losses. Great play from the side of Echo Fox to be able to find that, slightly out of position Kestrel. But game's still pretty even. It's only about 2k, most of that coming in off of that turret. So we'll see what things look like a little deeper into some of these team fights. PvP Trinity needs to be a little bit more careful about the positioning. Now knows that Echo Fox will abuse any minor errors that'll come out from their side. So maybe slightly safer play from this Kestrel, but still, Selena Gomez doesn't have the breaking point yet. There's still a lot of time for the side of Echo Fox to be able to scale up. So Vision Gaming, they can kind of start to make their move now. They've got, decent items finished on a number of characters. They've got damage on PvP Trinity. They've got that breaking point on Cause. Maybe if they find a great from Hell's Heart, they set something up.
Yeah, definitely have to be more careful on that Kestrel. I think you're being pretty nice saying that it was a little mispositioned. I mean, anytime your Kestrel's on the front line, that's not really a little mispositioning. And like you mentioned, Fox taking a advantage very quickly, noticing that, jumping right onto a very squishy target, bursting him down quickly. They get the first turret when Vision Gaming really had a lot of objective edge if they just played it safe.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is a little difficult to play super safe up against Echo Fox's composition. Once they start to feel confident they can encroach in on enemy territory, they've built up a couple of tanking items. They feel, they can kind of brawl through these team fights. You always have to be worried about that dive. But if you back up too far and you give too much respect to the dive, you're just going to give away objectives for free. So Vision is playing they have to tread a very fine line between how much poke they can get out of PvP Trinity, but so much damage onto the backline.
Yeah, absolutely. Shaded Talent now is separated from his team, and that might even be a good opportunity for him to just get out. But PvP Trinity's come back into the fight. They drop him. They find a kill onto Kaz as well. And just like that, game one that looked so in favor of Vision, this one is looking very much in favor of Fox. Again, I do think they have the easier draft to execute on, and they've done it well. I mean, they know what they have to do to win. Anytime they can get a chance to get onto PvP Trinity, they have done so, and they've been able to find the kills, and they've been able to push objective off of it. They got the turret last time. They're going to get the gold mine this time around.
Yeah, and the first two items picked up by Shaded Talent are just health. So they were able to get him very low very quickly, dump a lot of damage into that tank and get result out of it, forcing the tank to have to back up. The remaining members for the side of Vision show up, and then they immediately are able to dive deep in the back line and start putting pressure onto PvP Trinity, who doesn't have the second Tyrant's monocle, just finished the first, so that kind of, heavy crit damage isn't there. And look at Selena Gomez, has the metal jacket, and is picking up even more armor. So is ready for this double weapon power composition, which we haven't talked about the fact that it's only one damage type. There is basically no magic damage for the side of Vision. In goes Echo Fox.
Yeah, Echo Fox are looking to get onto PvP Trinity again. He's used the active camo to get around, but didn't have the damage to actually capitalize on anything. And Fox are just going to take him down again. Crazy out of position there by PvP Trinity. He probably should have just looked to get out. And now Kaz is going to drop again. Fox not letting up this aggression. So much tankiness coming out of these heroes as well. And now Fox looking to get a second turret down. And there's just nothing that Shaded Talent can do to stop this.
Yeah, they've also done a good job of absorbing Shaded Talent's rotation of tankiness and then just absolutely ignoring him and being able to chase on the PvP Trinity. Part of that's the attack speed off of Attack the Pack. Part of that is how much chase mobility you get off of having a Fortress and a Black Feather. The items are pretty much there for Selena Gomez. It's pretty much reached where is able to build up stacks, is incredibly tanky. Now has the Atlas Pauldron as well, so the dive onto PvP Trinity, it's pretty much seals the deal if that Atlas Pauldron goes down, and they just cut through, his damage as well as once Cause's attack speed is cut in half as well. So pretty much everything for the side of Echo Fox is going well. They've got a very straightforward composition, like I mentioned in the beginning of the game. The question is whether or not Vision can kind of pull themselves back far enough, into a defensive position to be able to let PvP Trinity actually land glimmer shots that do significant damage, and I'm not sure with all the armor being built up that they're gonna have enough time to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for them. Selena Gomez, Metal Jacket online, Atlas Pauldron online as well, is doing such a good job tanking up that front line. And with PvP Trinity not having any Pierce and Kaz only having a breaking point, it is very difficult for either one of them to find damage. And Fox taking another objective, unless a Shaded Talent can pull off some miracles here. He's not going to. That's 300 gold now for the side of Fox. But Vision Gaming answer quickly with a turret. Attack of the Pack is out. I think they've found PvP Trinity again. There's just nothing he can do at this point. Oh, Selena Gomez unfortunately uses the Rose offensive the wrong direction, and that might actually save PvP Trinity's life. He's going to make it out. He finds some damage onto Slata, but that's about all he's going to get. One shot, one kill, direct hit onto Selena Gomez. Basically just tickles the hair on his chin as he's going to shrug that one off easily.
So that fight opened up with Cause just throwing out the From Hell's Heart and looking to try and find them a pick. That's the first time they've actually used it offensively. Every other time it's been held very, very long by Cause before Vision has felt comfortable that they can try and take a fight. But there wasn't anybody to follow up onto that From Hell's Heart, so there's an immediate turn from the side of Echo Fox to try and pick off PvP Live. They almost get him, and that just kind of shows the mindset of these two teams. Vision Gaming are looking for any opportunity they can find, but aren't coordinated as, an entire unit to be able to make those things happen. Moment that From Hell's Heart hits Selena Gomez, they're like, okay, dive. Just dive. We can chase him down. We can get the kill.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a rough spot for them to be in at this point because Fox has just been able to find every single fight. And I easily expect them to be able to find every single one they want. The Blast Tremor is going to whiff there. Attack of the Pack is out and going to be wasted a little bit there. But, with it up in 45 seconds, I don't even think Fox really cares too much, to be honest with you. I think they're just going to still be able to look for a fight. And Vision Gaming has to clear out some of this vision so that PvP Trinity can get out of the fights. I mean, look, Glimmer Shots are just barely tickling Selena Gomez, even though he's eating them on the front line. And they're looking to come in. From Hell's Heart, going to stun up Slata, but PvP Trinity in a terrible spot. It's just Fox running all over him every chance they get. And now with PvP Trinity down, there's very likely going to be a Kraken started up by Echo Fox. And Kaz, again, Krull, very good at securing the Kraken when your team is on that objective. Not so good at doing so when he's trying to come in and get a last hit without stacks built up.
Yeah, we've seen the last two games, these Krulls have been unable to use that level 6 power spike to find that initial From Hell's Heart kill. They've been unable to get deeper into the build more than just one item. Cause basically does 0 damage. He doesn't have the tension bow for the initial damage break to kind of let PvP Trinity gain value off of that armor shred. Now there's a bit of pierce in here for PvP Trinity, but it might be a little too late because the damage is massive from the side of Echo Fox. They've got more or less fully built Selena Gomez, who's impossible to kill and will dish out very good damage over the course of time. Irwin is starting to get the burst in. Slata doesn't have great damage, but is still applying the mortal wound, is bringing in a little bit more magic damage to the table. And so far, I haven't seen Vision Gaming be able to, put up a consistent fight and be able to actually look for objective plays. And now the choke point turret is down. Maybe this could be the end.
This definitely could. Fox are looking to close it out. That Kraken is very hurt, but it is going to be PvP Trinity making it out. And even then, with a couple of Glimmer Shots onto Slata, is not able to find the kill. He doesn't really do anything to Selena Gomez either at this point. And Fox, they get another turret down. They're looking to turn their attention onto the remaining turret. Can they close this game out here? They do have Selena on the chase, but have they found PvP Trinity? He's so hurt. One more Winter Spire gonna take his life. And I think Fox have done it. They've pushed us to game 3 against Vision Gaming. And that was very different than game 1.
I think a lot of that came down to the composition. Vision Gaming handed over, Rhyme and Blackfeather. Very straightforward, very easy to execute, high damage, high value, strong in the meta, and gave themselves something a little bit more difficult to deal with. Although, Krull is a reasonably good jungler, he has to get going. In the last 2 games we have seen, Krull can't get going if the enemy team is a Blackfeather, and if they're just not given the space to do so.
Absolutely agreed. But to help us get into that game and figure out where Echo Fox was able to pull together such a good draft and take over, it's got to be Dragonborn.
Oh, thanks to Domine. And we really don't have to look much farther than those first 2 heroes there on those stats. Blackfeather and Rhyme, they are some of the most prioritized heroes in 2.9 to Domine, and they were paired together in this draft. That's not something we have seen almost ever here in the competitive scene in 2.9, just because so often at least one of them is banned away.
That's usually the case, but not this time around. And Vision Gaming pay for their mistake.
Yeah, I mean, the question is that a mistake, right? Like, you obviously have to applaud the side of Vision Gaming for trying to find a counter here to nominate. But the challenge is that, when you go up against such a composition that has already been so well recognized as being, some of the strongest heroes in the game, in the meta, you're really it just seems like you're trying to play from behind instead of trying to get the lead early, and the draft can be a big factor here.
Yeah, it definitely can. So we'll have to see what they're able to pull out for game number 3. This is such a close match right now, and obviously neither one of these teams really want to lose out on this one.
Oh, no, they don't.
We'll have to see what ends up happening.
Yeah, this one's a big one, guys. So we're about ready to jump into it. Going to check with the teams to see if we are ready. And once we get into this game, Vision Gaming, I would say after game 1, really looked like the more composed team. But a bad draft, this is something that it's an interesting point of study to nominate, because, when you're going the first 2 picks, 3 picks, you're making decisions, everything hasn't come out, and you don't see everything on display. But you have to imagine that you've got to have in the back of your head, all right, what are we going to do if they get Ryan Blackfeather, right? Like, you're going through is you don't ban it, you don't pick it, and it keeps happening pick after pick, and eventually it just seems like you get to near the end of the draft, and you're just like wondering, well, how did we do this? How did we get stuck in this position?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope they are able to pull something together that's a little bit better, as obviously I'm not a fan of that first draft there they had, or that second draft, my apologies. And it's a Catherine coming off very early on by Vision Gaming here, and that's interesting as well. They could be looking to get that first draft power pick, but the Rhyme is taken off. The Rona is still on the table, so it makes it difficult for the Blackfeather to be first picked, and they're just going to go ahead and go with that Lyra.
Yeah. Castro coming out from Echo Fox here.
Hey, this is one of Selena's favorites that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, so again, a little bit of a prioritization on that pick. It makes a lot of sense to nominate. They don't want to give it up just yet. Celeste ban from Echo.
Celeste ban, and that's something that Kaz has had a lot of good effect on, and that's a hero that's very good at shutting down that Kestrel.
Yeah. Absolutely. You don't want the outpoke to happen here, so there's a few other heroes that could make that trade happen. Blackfeather's still available. Now, Echo Fox could pull out Kestrel in the lane or jungle with Blackfeather, so both of those would be flex. That's something that we saw the opportunity come up once before. They didn't take it. Is that something, or Vision didn't take it? Is that something that Echo Fox, will learn from, potentially ensuring that they've got that comp?
Oh, excuse me. It's definitely possible. They're burning a bit of bonus time here, thinking what they want to ban away, and it's going to be the Arden.
Yeah, Arden, the ban away, so now Echo Fox on the board here, 22 seconds going through. Blackfeather is still available. What is happening here, Denobody, where we've seen the win rate of Blackfeather just skyrocket here in Challengers, yet he still manages to make it through so far into the draft?
Well, the weapon Blackfeather definitely has a lot of success. Crystal Blackfeather here and there does. Obviously, we saw Vision Gaming able to pull it out in game number 1 with a good success. But it's difficult with a Kestrel. So you then have 2 heroes that really want to poke. That is the route they're going to want to go. But what this composition is very susceptible to is a heavy amount of dive. Crystal Blackfeather is not really the best in a straight up fight. He wants to get some poke down early so that he can have an edge and come in and be an assassin, be like a frontline hero. And, with a Kestrel who kind of wants to do the same thing, wants to get a couple good glimmer shots off before the fight begins, that makes it very easy to build a composition that just wants to get in your face quickly and take away that poke advantage you have. Now we have a Lyra and an Alpha paired up, and this is a very good hero at just getting in and getting damage down quickly. And with a Vox, very mobile as well, able to dance around the fight, can be a little bit difficult to hit with those skill shots that are directional. I think Vision Gaming has a good answer here, but they have to play it right.
No, and this is interesting. You're talking about getting up in your face. That's exactly what Vision has to do, and that's exactly what they're starting to do here. This is a very strong get-up-in-your-face composition that will be able to go right at the Kestrel and try to shut that Kestrel down.
Yeah, absolutely. And now there's obviously already the Catherine gone. There's the Lyra picked up by Vision, and there's the Arden banned away. Doesn't leave a whole lot left. And, again, obviously the Fortress right here definitely wouldn't be the same aggression that we saw with the Fortress and the Blackfeather last game. Because, again, the Fortress wants to engage very heavily, and the Blackfeather and the Kestrel want to poke from afar. So I feel them leaning towards probably a Grace right now, or maybe even a Churnwalker, somebody who would allow you to pull the enemies in closer after Kestrel and Blackfeather have got their poke down.
Yeah.
As well as could share some of that heavy burst that both of these heroes have.
It's definitely possible. Looks like we are about to run out of time, but not before Echo Fox pulls out a Finn. And this is interesting to nominate because Finn has definitely been the one support we have seen utilized the least next to Flicker. How does this work? Now, the Vox is almost, is the Vox going weapon for sure? Because as a weapon Vox, your effectiveness against Finn is not nearly as prominent as a Crystal Vox.
Oh, no, you're much more effective as a weapon Vox in this scenario. We saw Mixie pull out the Crystal Vox into the Finn before, and because of the amount of fortified health that Finn can provide his team, we saw Mixie do, let's hold on for a second here. We saw chat before anything else say Crystal Vox isn't doing anything, Crystal Vox isn't doing anything, Crystal Vox isn't doing anything. Looking at the damage chart after, that Crystal Vox did almost 100,000 damage in a 25-minute game. But most of that damage was onto fortified health, and if that's where all your damage is going is little chips at constant fortified health, then that's not really the same scenario. Now, it's obviously not into a Rhyme and a Rona as well. There's a little more opportunity to bounce that damage around. But again, Finn, AoE fortified health to the team, and Weapon Alpha into a Blackfeather and a Kestrel doesn't really have the same burst potential. You have to stick to a target, and a Kestrel and a Blackfeather very good at making sure you're not able to stick.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we are about ready to get into this matchup to nominate. Again, Game 3, winner moves on to the next round in the winner's bracket. The loser of this round, they will be dropped down to the elimination round to actually play right after this series. So they'll have to play back-to-back series here tonight. Nobody wants that. Both these teams want to move on, so we should be getting ready to get into this matchup here in just a few seconds here to nominate. We take a look at the draft. We've talked about it a bit here already, Dave, but it's one of those things where the Blackfeather has been so dominant, but Alpha has been that one hero that just seems to come in and spoil the meta when it shows its face. Alpha really has a lot of damage, a lot of sustained. Does Vision have what it takes? Are they going to potentially pull this out and win over Echo Fox?
It's definitely going to be close. I mean, again, the Alpha so good at diving, the Vox so good at diving, and then obviously Lyra able to sustain. If Vision plays it right, they should be able to pull out the win here. But if Fox is able to kite correctly, if they're able to get some good poke before Vision is able to engage, then they definitely have a composition that can be very overwhelming in the amount of damage it can put out.
All right, well, we are getting into the game. We're going to find out who's going to be the victors in this one. I'm going to kick it over to our casters to nominate and the source to get us into all the action.
All right, source. This could be the demise for Vision Gaming or Fox. We're going to have to see who's able to come out on top here, as neither one of these teams want to drop on out this late on in the tournament. And, it does very much look like it's going to be a Crystal Alpha right now, as we are sitting on 2 Crystal Bits. Vox does have a Swift Shooter in his pocket, so just looking to get those Resonance bounces out and make it easy to farm early on up. And it might be Vision looking for the Elder Treant here.
Yeah, Vision, they should be able to group up and take this. It's difficult to fight up against an Alpha early. It's going to have to be a steal from the side of Echo Fox, and they do manage to get it.
Yeah, Echo Fox actually rotated a little bit quicker and were able to start that one up. Kaz gonna drop into Infinite Reboot, but might be able to make it out of here alive, looking like it. Shaded Talent has to use the healing flask on himself. He drops an Imperial Sigil. That's gonna help him and PvP Trinity get out. But Fox get the Treant, and they get the better part of that trade.
Yeah, they managed to get a lot of good initial damage on the Cause, on the Alpha. They did have to burn 2 of their flasks, so 2 flask trade out on either side. Great positioning from the side of Echo Fox, as well as damage management, making sure to get their damage to be absorbing damage with those shields. And now Selena Gomez is in a decent position in the lane, is going to be able to stall things out a bit, and has Slater there to back him up. That was a great opening from Echo Fox, but they do need to be worried about what happens when Cause gets closer into that aftershock, and that initial team fight probably coming in around 4 minutes.
Yeah, definitely going to be a game changer there when Alpha gets that burst online. But Blackfeather, again, able to poke from afar, can start to bring Alpha down and force a termination protocol out pretty early. So that is something we're going to have to, keep our eyes on. Selena Gomez hasn't had a chance to shop yet. He's sitting on 1,600 gold, and that does make it a little bit difficult for him to farm out this wave. So he's probably going to go ahead and try to get the wave pushed as soon as he can, and then make a rotation so he can get a heavy steal and try to get some damage built up for himself. Like I said, there's the wave pushed out a little bit there. He's going back, going to pick up those items, and this is going to make it much easier for him to farm out the wave. Much quicker.
Yeah, and it's a pretty even damage distribution between both teams. Both teams have got an initial burst. They've also got a long sustain character. Do always have to be worried about what Alpha can dish out in the earlier stages of the game, but so far it seems like it's been good for Echo Fox, although Irwin takes massive damage, has to pop a flask.
Yeah, Irwin getting chased down. Slata is very low as well, but I think everyone's going to make it out here alive. There's that fortified health coming through. They actually return a lot of damage onto PvP Trinity, and that is maybe not what Vision was looking for, but they're going to have to live with it as Fox all going to make it out alive, but Vision's not done. Here they come. Can they find the kill? They get first blood onto Slata, the slow river troll, and that is not going to be looking good for them. But, they're still very much in this. Obviously, we know what a Kestrel can do in the late game. We know what a Blackfeather can do in the late game as well. Jungle has intensified. What do you think we're going to see out of the Blackfeather? We've seen some varying builds. It's definitely usually that Shatterglass first item. But, we see some teams, they like the Aftershock after that. They like going right into a Broken Myth. Some of them like going into that Dragon's Eye. What are you thinking Irwin is going to be specifically pulling out here?
I'd say Dragon's Eye or not Dragon's Eye, Broken Myth is it's the better item for the way you're going to play Blackfeather, which is poke and then disengage and then poke and then disengage and then all in. And just having that damage plus the pierce means that all of your flat damage that's going through is getting maximum value. A Dragon's Eye could be interesting on him, but going Shatterglass into Broken Myth I think gets you the best result on the CP Blackfeather, unless you're going for a brawly sustaining build in which even then it's hard to justify picking up the Dragon's Eye, at least in the earlier stage of the game. Maybe fourth item and you're late and you've got all those cooldowns and you can kind of build up those stacks, but it's hard to really maintain them on a Blackfeather consistently, in my opinion. I feel like you have to kite out too often to be able to keep them up.
I'd fully agree on that. Plus the cooldown of your on point makes it difficult in definitely I like where you're going. I like the Broken Myth second item. Definitely can get through some of that shielding that the enemies are very likely to build up, knowing the amount of poke that you can do. But, Fox up here in the lane now, and Kestrel able to clear minions out pretty quickly. Could force this wave up here, but Kaz is ready to go. He's level 6. He has Termination Protocol online. PvP Trinity is going to have that wait for it fairly soon here. And, looking over at the other side, we have maybe less effective level 6 ult. It's not a silence. It's not a blow your entire team up AoE ultimate. But the one to look at key is Slata is now halfway to level 6. He's going to have that Forced Accord. Now, Shaded Talent has gone for the Crucible first item again, which is what he did in game 1 on Lyra. But if he misses that pull, he could be pulling them right into an active camo. They're all going to be grouped up right on top of each other. That's a key moment where Irwin can get multiple targets with the on point. And as he gets to level 8, he's going to get that additional range and the additional damage and can be a huge threat.
Yeah, a lot of good initial damage on the Kaz. Massive burst coming through.
Yeah, quite a bit. Kaz is forced pretty low here. Now, again, he has that termination protocol. He can kind of use that when in a sticky situation, but PvP Trinity has been forced now to use his flask as well as shaded talent. And we have a fountain online for Slata. Here we go. There's a little bit of dive on Selena Gomez, but they answer back quickly with some burst onto Kaz. The Prime Directive has missed. They now have Finn in a rough spot, but Kaz, I think he might drop here. Can he get the Prime Directive out? It just came up. That is a termination protocol down, and they're going to find 2 kills, actually. Selena is going to get one onto PvP Trinity, and then he's going to find the one-shot, 1 kill onto Shaded, and I think Irwin has found a kill onto Kaz as well. Kaz with some funny, fancy footwork there, but not living long enough. That's going to be an ace to Fox. That's going to be a turret to Fox, and they might even look to take down a second one. They have quite a bit of objective damage with this Kestrel, and PvP Trinity just not at a scary point in his build yet. Fox get a huge push off of one fight.
Yeah, now they
hold on.
Be a little bit careful.
But, you know, just losing Slata for 2 turrets and an ace? I mean, that's worth all day for Fox, right?
Yeah, definitely. You also have to consider the amount of gold that's currently sitting in Selena Gomez's pocket, 2,000. That's going to be the finished Tyrant's Monocle. That's going to be something else, but a nice dive coming out from the side of Vision.
Yeah, will they be able to find it? They get one. That was a really risky dive. Shaded almost pays with his life. PvP Trinity was looking for Irwin, wasn't quite able to find it. There's the fountain coming out of Slata. There's a beautiful force to court sniping one out. Irwin's gonna find 2, and now they're chasing down Kaz, but with the active infinite reboot available, he's gonna be a-okay. 1 shot, 1 kill comes out, tickles him up a little bit, but he should be all right. He's actually gonna go ahead and maybe leave that treant as he sees Fox is here ready to go. So Fox taking an edge early. They do give up a couple kills in the turret, but they are still up in gold, 2,000 at this point, and they're starting up the gold mine.
Yeah, and major items are coming through. The broken myth is finished for Irwin. Selena Gomez has got that for Tyrant's Monocle, looking towards the second. They do not have a Crucible finished for Slata yet, so they won't have that additional block, but they don't really need it. The main crowd control you're really worried about, maybe yes, walking through a bright board, but it's really everything coming out from Alpha. And that's not a massive team fight amount of crowd control. Maybe you want to block the wait for it, but they've got so much damage anyway.
Yeah, they absolutely do. PvP Trinity has dropped very low. Will he make it out alive? It's looking like he's going to. An Imperial Sigil coming out of Shaded Talent going to help. 1 shot, 1 kill, 689 on the PvP Trinity. And that is not looking good for Vision because now Fox forcing this wave up very quickly here. We've seen how fast they can take turrets. Kaz gets on the front line. Shaded Talent as well. They take so much damage. There's the Force to Cord onto 2. PvP Trinity, though, going to jump back through that Arcane Passage that Shaded Talent dropped. But I think Fox get a turret here, and I think they get out alive.
Yeah, they may not be done yet. So it is walking forward, pulls them back in. Dive coming in from Irwin. Can't finish anybody, but it does look like Echo Fox have got good control over the game, and they've done a great job of setting up their push with their weapon power Kestrel. Now Kestrel's got another 2k in the bank. That'll be another Tyrant's Monocle coming through, and this weapon Kestrel feels like it's doing a much better job than last game, where it really felt like PvP Trinity couldn't maneuver at all, was just too far behind and didn't have the damage to be a threat.
Yeah, definitely felt that way. It's, been a close matchup thus far, but perhaps not close enough for what Vision would like. That choke point turret is down. Shaded Talent has taken a bit of damage here as well. Can Fox find a kill? They're only 11 minutes into this game, and they have a massive advantage, and Shaded Talent is going to go down. This is Echo Fox coming in strong, and they are making a point for themselves. Selena Gomez has both monocles online and is now working into what's probably going to be either a Bone Saw or a Tornado Trigger. As well as Irwin has gone with that Broken Myth second item and has built up 2 light shields, so he is not really heavy in the defense, but he does cut quite a bit of damage that Kaz is able to put out down, as well as if he can use his positioning to soak up some damage from Selena Gomez, or off of Selena Gomez, then he's going to allow Selena to have some free reign over the fights. And it is Vision Gaming rotating down here into a trap set up by Fox as they take down this Crystal Sentry. Another Forced Accord does not get blocked, but it's Selena Gomez that pays with his life, and Irwin might actually drop out here as well. Shaded Talent was the only one to pursue, so he should make it out all right, but they're going to take down Slata no problem. And just like that, Vision Gaming has found a window and might even start out the gold mine here. They are going to. And with Irwin being the only one alive, he's not even going to risk it. He recognizes that his team has a massive advantage. And this gold mine payout, although, yes, it's going to put some money into Vision's pocket, it is nowhere near going to even things up.
No, definitely not. But it is a bit of a reprieve for them. They can slow things down a little bit. So far, all of the smaller skirmishes we had towards the middle of that game, that really gave Echo Fox the opportunity to trade back. They got those 2 turrets, but then they would trade 1 death, primarily on Slata, for the double kill pickup on Irwin, the double kill pickup on Selena Gomez. That much value and that much gold flowing into that team spiked them to major items that let them win team fights going forward. And we haven't seen Kaz be able to find good setup fights, with the exception of that one. And that one might have just been Echo Fox being a little too over aggressive, sitting off in the enemy jungle. They got the Crystal Sentry for their trouble and traded out 2 kills for it. So, kind of taking that objective a little bit further off the board. I think it needs 1 more death before they'll have it eliminated. Yes? Yeah. So it's got 1 more life left before it'll be eliminated. So they're still getting things despite giving Vision Gaming a little bit of a window back into the game. But right now, the fact that Kaz isn't that effective in the game so far is really big. The fact that the Alpha, got very lucky when they found Selena Gomez in that last fight. Selena Gomez is getting very, very close to becoming, almost unkillable, assuming there's great protection from Slata, and that means the entire team of Vision is going to die to the damage.
Yeah, absolutely could be the case. So far, Vision Gaming looking to push this turret up and try to spend some time rotating down now, maybe get some farm out of the enemy's jungle, as they did have vision of them all in the lane there for a second, but they're just going to go ahead and shot PvP Trinity, quite a ways away from his 3rd offensive item, going into that probably monocle, I would assume. He's already got a Tornado Trigger and a Sorrow Blade complete, but he's still hanging on to this flask. And Kaz has completed a Metal Jacket as well, but we just haven't really seen a whole lot come out of Vision this game. They've been able to find a kill here and there thanks to some mispositioning out of Fox, but Fox have a pretty sizable objective advantage right now. There's only 2 turrets between them and a victory, and Kraken is getting ready to come on the board. So all Fox have to do is find 1 more fight, and they can get the Kraken marching down the lane into just those 2 remaining turrets. Here we go. A skirmish is breaking out over this gold mine. Wait for it is out. They are on to Slata. That's not the most ideal target. Kaz is going to get stunned up, but he's starting to get to that tanky point in his build. A beautiful stun coming out there is going to prevent Kaz from getting damaged. He actually gets dropped before he can use the Termination Protocol. And it's actually Shaded Talent that loses out on his life first. Selena Gomez winds up the 1-shot 1 kill. It goes a little bit wide to the left, but a fight that was looking like Vision had found everything they need switches around very quickly thanks to
Selena Gomez.
Oh, Selena almost gets caught by the Prime Directive there. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out of this one. Kaz is very healthy. He's coming. Kaz, what you going to do? There it is right there. Kaz finds a kill to answer back. 1 for 1. Shaded Talent is up, and Selena is down for 25. Can Vision start something up here? Can they get the Kraken going? Slata is on his way over, as well as Irwin. This is a risky call, but it might just be the one that Vision needs.
Yeah, it's totally possible Vision can turn things off. That, but Selena Gomez just had to hold the back. The moment he broke the back animation, spelled his doom. And now PvP Trinity is pressuring up. They've left Kaz kind of on the Kraken, and they're willing to take this 2v2, getting damage on Irwin. He's going very, very low. PvP Trinity, he gets him.
Yeah, they get the kill onto Irwin. Meanwhile, Kaz is very close to having this Kraken secured. One shot, one kill gonna be blocked out. And that's a Kraken going over to Vision. And with Irwin down for 20 seconds, Vision are back in this game 7-7. Still down 4,500 gold, but they've found opportunity and they're looking to push with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of a sad day for Equivox when it was really just such a minor issue to bring them back into the game, to let Vision just get back into the game with the Kraken pick.
Absolutely, and now they're going to take down this turret pretty much uncontested. A couple glimmer shots coming through from Selena, but not doing a whole lot with the fact that Shaded Talent is obviously able to heal the team up with his Imperial Sigil. Kraken's still quite healthy and pushing into this choke point turret now, but Selena Gomez is making short work of that health bar, and this is going to be interesting to see what Vision Gaming do here. Can they get in? If they can get a kill onto Selena, they might even be able to end the game. And, you know, PvP Trinity has gone a second Tornado Trigger now, and, you know, yes, he does have a lot of crit, he has a lot of attack speed, but just doesn't seem to have the impact as well as obviously with no breaking point. He's not able to scale up against a team that doesn't have any armor built. Selena Gomez does not have a single piece of armor. Irwin does not have a single piece of armor either. So if he's getting damage onto the carries, he could have been scaling that item up very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's a difficult time. This is just such a back and forth game because I think both teams have got compositions with a little bit of a quirk to them. Having the fortress, that is not a fortress. Having the Finn makes it so that Equifox has to be careful about when and where they engage, because if you force a Cord into a bad position, that puts so much pressure on Selena Gomez that you've basically given Cause a free entry into the engagement. On the other side, you've got a composition that needs a lot of time for Vision Gaming to be able to get those stacks built up. There's no stacking kind of built up. I thought you had a breaking point. I was like, yeah, you need those stacks built up on PvP Trinity. You need space for PvP Trinity to do damage and maneuver. And once you Arcane Passage in, once you kind of set up that engagement, you're going to see Selena Gomez just kiting away the whole time.
Absolutely. Kaz is probably working into a Dragon's Eye, but at 19 minutes into the game, not having that second offensive item does make it a little bit difficult for Alpha to have a really game-changing kind of play style. He has got a lot of defense built up for himself, so that does allow him to get in and be a little bit safer, but we still have to see the right engagements coming out of the side of Vision. They did a good job in the last fight. Here comes the Arcane Passage, but it's directly into an active camo. PvP Trinity is forced basically out of this fight already, and On Point is going to land. A Rose Offensive is going to finish him up, and just like that, a fight that should have been good for Vision, just off of one little error from Shaded Talent there. That Arcane Passage again coming right into an active camo. Stunned up PvP Trinity, made him a sitting duck for damage. And now Fox find 2 kills onto the carries. They might just be looking to push on into the base. They might be able to end the game. PvP Trinity's up in 17 seconds, Kaz in 25. And they just blow up turrets. Fox might just close the game out here. PvP Trinity is coming up, but I don't know if he has the damage to secure this one out. Selena Gomez working on that Vein Crystal, and I believe Fox have done it. Source, what a good call there from Fox. They find both carries, and they just decide we have the damage to end this. There's no reason to find another fight, and they will be moving on to the next round.
Yeah. Great bit of play by Echo Fox to be able to turn things back after a difficult series. Good adaptation in the draft. I'm still not completely convinced in the Finn pick, but it came through for them in the end. And just stop giving up people Blackfeather. Blackfeather's just too good. He just wins games.
Absolutely. We already hear Dragon chuckling on over there. What you got to say, man?
Well, I mean, it's just, at least at Challengers, the win rate for Blackfeather's been really high, and it's one of those things where we've seen, with this series particularly, we've seen Blackfeather make it exceptionally far through the draft, and something that I think both teams will reflect upon after this matchup. But we are going to be getting into our third and final series of the match, everybody, as we will be now moving down into the elimination round, and we're actually going to be staying with Vision Gaming as we look to continue this on here into the night. We're not done here just yet, as we've got a lot more matches. We'll also be updating you guys on the other matches that took place off stream. You're not going to miss all that and more after this. We'll see you in a few.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here live at the VIS desk getting ready for our third and final series of the night. And we're going to be bringing you guys down into the elimination round, a matchup that's do or die for these two teams. Joining me tonight, it's the Denominate and the Source. And of course, as always, I'm your host, Dragonborn, as we look to get into these games. And Denominate, this matchup specifically, do or die, is massive for these two organizations, Vision Gaming and Misfits, as they look to try to hold on to their chance to make it to challenge battles. Whew. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and I think you were just mentioning a minute ago, Dragon, that we do have 2 of the 3 teams decided.
We do,
yeah. Going on to challenge battles, right?
Yeah, let's take a quick look at that. We're going to go look at the playoff bracket here. So, just so you guys know, the winner bracket teams that are remaining in the winner's bracket, they are qualified for challenge battles. That's right, a 32nd seeded team, as well as Echo Fox, and I'm sure Echo Fox is breathing a huge sigh of relief. They have made the challenge battles. At this point, they're just determining their seeding, which will matter. Guys, it will matter because now it's a double elimination, a whole new format for challenge battles. But they've qualified, so that's a big sigh of relief for these two organizations. Now, as we go down the elimination round, it's going to be 2 more teams here. They'll be battling it off, and then we'll find out tomorrow the last team to qualify in that semifinals elimination round that will take place for the elimination part of this bracket. So wanted to touch off on that real quick, everybody, of course, as we jump back in here. But Vision Gaming versus Misfits, these two teams are fighting for their lives. One of these two teams will be eliminated.
Yeah, one of them going home and one of them looking for another chance at getting into the challenge battles.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are jumping into the draft, everybody, getting ready for this Game 3. Of course, one of the things we talked about in last series, we just watched Vision, is they really did not perform well in the end of those last 2 drafts. And that really hurt them. Massive problem. So Vision, as they try to reel in from that, again, it was just a few moments ago, they still are probably dealing with the frustration. Now they have to sit down, figure it out, and hopefully improve that part of their gameplay.
Arden coming off the table early there, and that's really just them saying we don't want to deal with anything to do with those double gauntlets that come out. And I think that's, definitely one benefit here. And then some we talk about here and there. This is almost like just I don't want to go into this ban, and it now forces the enemy team to ban something away and potentially leave one of those incredibly strong power picks open. For example, that Rhyme or the Black Feather could possibly be picked up first.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that actually, Vision had failed to do. And maybe they learned from it already. I hope they have, because that's a massive challenge here. So we are... Hold on. All right, there we go. Was a little worried there. Misfits taking a good long time here. They actually had to decide who they were going to allow through the draft here. And they are going to allow the Rhyme, potentially. We'll see if Vision Gaming decides to pick it up here. But this has been the problem with Vision Gaming is not only did they not pick the Rhyme or Black Feather when they had the opportunity first pick, they actually allowed it through an additional banning phase and still didn't pick it.
Absolutely. And now with the Black Feather off the table, there is a possibility for a Rhyme first pick here if that's what they so choose to do. Now, again, there's not a whole lot of counters to the Rhyme right now, specifically ones that people are comfortable playing. We actually saw Tempo Storm pull out the Sky, which is a hero that many people have really strayed away from for quite some time, and they were able to pull out strongly with it. But that Rhyme isn't picked up here. It's a Kestrel first pick, and that's a little bit interesting allowing that one through.
It is interesting. Vision Gaming clearly identifying this as a pick that they want to have. But then again, leaving the Rhyme through. Question is, will Misfits pick this up?
And we'll have to see what they decide to do. Obviously, that is a incredibly strong pick right now in the current meta.
It is. They're taking a lot of time. They are going with this Vox pick. And they've got the second pick, so now this is where Vision Gaming had typically not banned out that second hero. Now, Kestrel does play well into Rhyme, but I don't see why you'd risk it. I mean, there are a few other bans we could see here. They already took Arden off the board. And when we look at Kestrel play, you obviously don't want an Alpha as well. So we actually could see Vision Gaming ban out the Alpha here just because of their first pick. And with Misfits banning the Rhyme, I think Vision Gaming is a clear path to ban the Alpha. That would be one of the few heroes Misfits could easily get on top of the Kestrel as well. I mean, there's a few other heroes, but that one just stood out to me specifically as a very powerful one.
Absolutely. So far, neither team really has revealed a lot. A Kestrel and a Vox, those are kind of standard picks, outside of, the Black Feather and the Rhyme that are so highly contested. But a Fortress coming off early on here, and that's going to put a position where... there's not a whole lot of captains banned. Obviously, we have the Arden and the Fortress off now, but there's still quite a few good captain picks available. Obviously, the Catherine would allow you, a double silence potential, even a triple silence potential with the Vox as well. We could see the Grace come out. I think it's pretty... I don't know if I'd pair the Vox with a Churn Walker this early on in the draft. Just doesn't really seem like a very strong pickup to me, but they have options available. There are still plenty of captains on the board.
There really are here. Now, with only 8 seconds left, Misfits might be running a little bit near the edge here on these picks, so hopefully they take the time during these next 2 picks to think about how they're going to finish this draft off. They do go with the Finn, so an interesting pickup here. Clearly, they want that support dealing with Kestrel. And so they are trying to make sure they got sustained here. But there is the Alpha pick. And this is what we talked about as a great hero to get on top of the enemy. With a Finn, as slow as he is, Alpha should be able to get in and out of these fights. And so the question is, can he get far enough into the back line to get the Vox? Now, Misfits have a chance here. They only have about, was it like another 15 seconds now to make their final pick.
Yeah, definitely cutting it a little bit close here on the time, but if they get the pick they want, that's really what matters. And it's going to be a Baptiste. Interesting one there.
Baptiste here. This is definitely trying to contain Kestrel and Alpha. It's something they could do. The Fearsome Shade as Alpha's trying to get onto Vox and Baptiste. This definitely strikes me as something that, you know, they'll be able to use to try to, like, just push the enemy team back. And I actually like it. Alpha has a tendency to just be really aggressive, and it's almost like just trying to, you know, it's almost borderline impossible to push Alpha away from the fight. But an Echo on a Baptiste, that could be something that we see. Plus, you've got the nice crowd control coming out between Baptiste and Finn.
Yeah, that Baptiste definitely can do a good job of locking up targets, but, you know, maybe not the best hero to pick into the Alpha, just because Baptiste is very good at poking out like a squishy front line, and an Alpha, when paired with a Lyra, that's not really what you have going on. So I think more so the Baptiste and the Finn here are just trying to keep the Vox alive. We've seen, you know, Voxes go a little more untraditional builds with like the Sorrow Blade double tornado trigger. I think this is a very clear opportunity where Vox can build up a breaking point and really start to ramp those stacks up quickly, because there's a lot that Alpha has to go through to get to the backline.
Yeah, there really is. All right, everybody, we are going to be getting into this matchup here. You guys are watching the Challenger Series, and this is game number 1 of our 3rd series, but the first one that we're going to be highlighting here in the elimination bracket in the playoffs. I'm going to be kicking it over to my casters, Denominate and the Source, to get us into the action.
All right, Source, last matchup for tonight. We will know who will be going on to the rest of the tournament. Obviously, fighting for the challenge battle spot. Both of these teams want their opportunity. Vision Gaming, number 2 seed. As far as seeding goes, they would be the favorite, and I think they've got a pretty reasonable draft here, unless if Jazzville is really able to scale out of control. Well, we might be missing some sauce here.
Well, the sauce was still boiling in the pot. It's fine. Initial engagement from Vision Gaming. They're gonna try and take the Treant, but they need to be careful.
I'm so sad.
PvP Trinity's taking a lot of damage, but Kaz was able to get that Treant, and he's now onto Jazzville. Can they find the kill? There's an Ordained down. I think it's onto the Alpha, but it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna stun anybody up anyway. There's the Prime Directive, gonna get caught up on Ali Peterson, but PvP Trinity has found himself a first blood. Kestrel going to be pretty happy with that one, clearing out some vision now, not even taking the damage from it. And Krully now in a pretty rough spot, watching his jungle get taken away. Here's Jazzville. There's the Ordained down. Ali Peterson is coming back, but that Treant is going to go over to Kaz. And with the Imperial Sigil out of Lyra, giving him that speed boost, they could look it out. But Kaz goes back in. Heavy dive onto the backline, finds a second kill. Jazzville now dropping very low as well. Kaz still has that extra lifeline, that infinite reboot, and Vision Gaming have started this one off incredibly potent, and they are looking for a whole rotation out of the Misfits jungle. Vision, what a wonderful start.
And that's how you open things up with an early game Alpha. We saw in the last game they tried to make that happen. For Cause, but they got immediately punished by good play coming out of Echo Fox. They were able to burn through that infinite reboot. As long as that infinite reboot is there, it means that the Alpha player has the ability to play, you know, just kind of with a second life in mind. And because of that second life, because of that infinite reboot, you're able to take more aggressive positioning, and your opponents have to back up or be ready to take you into the infinite reboot and then kill you. And they have to, you know, be concerned about the amount of damage they take. This just lets Vision gain everything they need and causes almost all the way to his Aftershock. Also has boots, has an extra crystal bit. I mean, I don't think you could have asked for a better opening.
I definitely don't think you could. Finding first blood, finding second blood, and finding an entire enemy's jungle rotation. Definitely a favorable start for them. Can they pull it off in the end, though? That is the serious question, as Kaz has come in and looked for some aggression, but they are very separated from their teammate. Kaz has gone in, found a lot of damage onto Crowley, but Jazzville is doing a good job of keeping PvP Trinity back, but it's not enough. Kaz finds a kill onto the Baptiste. That's a third kill on the board now for Vision, and they have started this game off with a bang, and that's going to be another Elder Treant now going over to Kaz, as well as probably the lower double camps, that shop double camp going over to him as well. Not a lot of gold, but anything you can deny Baptiste at this point, definitely helpful. They might even look to catch him out here.
Yeah, and playing something like an alpha is a matter of confidence. If you do not punish that alpha player, they're going to feel that they can make whatever plays they're comfortable with. And when players feel confident that they're allowed to make plays, they tend to make better plays repeatedly. We've seen every time Kaz shows up for these team fights, nobody's there to punish him, and he gets kill after kill after kill because they don't feel they have the damage on the side of Misfits to actually get through that infinite reboot, and to be honest, they don't. Because of that, you've got this big window where Kaz is able to dish out damage, he's able to go deep on the jungle invades, he's able to take any fight that he wants, and is confident that his teammates are going to show up to back him up on those plays. And now we're 4 minutes in, he's already got the termination protocol. We can see a big play here.
Yeah, we definitely could. Ordain is down. That's going to keep him from going any further. But they found a lot of damage onto Crowley, and they have done nothing but punish this Baptiste. Kaz is level 6 to the level 4 of Crowley. This game, with the level advantage, the way it's starting to develop, PvP Trinity also level 6, is looking very heavily in favor of Vision. So again, this is kind of going to rely on Jazzville getting to a hyper carry point. He has the Poison Shiv built up early. This is going to be a useful tool into the Lyra, but he needs to get a Sorrow Blade and probably a breaking point online. Maybe even have to risk going into a 4th offensive item for the amount of armor that Kaz is likely going to build up later on in the game.
Yeah, it's something to consider, which means that Jazzville is going to need to be on point positioning wise, because the last thing you need to do is to go full glass cannon and then not consider your positioning. There is a lot of protection from Ally Peterson. Like, just having a Finn could be the difference in terms of fortified health and getting that polite company to be able to just kind of slow down the initial aggression coming out from Kaz. But they have to stop Kaz soon, because he's just going to get to that terrifying spot very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have to see what they're able to do to deal with this alpha. So far, it hasn't been much that they've been able to do, but that's not to say that they can't do anything about it. This is starting off as a very interesting game. Vision didn't really look to be that tight knit in that game number 3 against Fox, but they're looking to change that here. They found a lot of damage onto Jazzville. The Crucible's already been used by Shaded Talent, but Ally Peterson still has that Fountain in pocket as well. Level 6 has that Forced Accord. There it is. But you've killed your carry. Jazzville drops. Vision Gaming make it out safely. A bit low on health, but they are very much so alive. Fearsome Shade has already back up here, ready to go. And it does whiff away there. Has Vision found a kill onto Ally Peterson as well? Prime Directive comes out, but the Ordain gonna stun Kaz up. Doesn't matter. Aftershock comes through, finds the kill, and that's a 5-0 lead now for Vision. 3,000 gold in their favor, and they are looking to get up here and get some push down on this turret. Jazzville's coming back up, but can he find anything? Alpha pretty tanky, getting these Aftershock procs down. That's first turret for Vision as well. They are starting this game off like a team to be reckoned with, and a Bright Bulwark gonna allow the team to get out safely here as Curly looks to stop a recall, and it's done a good job because now all 3 members of Misfits in the lane, PvP Trinity is not going to be able to recall now and pick up anything from the shop. He has 1,800 gold in his pocket. Kaz is in deep. The Ordain goes down. It's going to prevent a little bit of an engage here, but he's just been able to find a lot. The Fearsome Shade going to fear up Shaded Talent, but without the team there to make anything out of it, it's basically just a little bit of a disengage tool. Kaz taking even more jungle here out away from Curly, sitting up 35-28. Vision Gaming well in the driver's seat, but Some good vision there coming out of Ali Peterson. That vision did not get popped. It gave vision on all 3 members of Vision Gaming, so they know where everybody was, at least for a brief second. And now PvP Trinity and Kaz looking to get some ambient gold here in the jungle.
Yeah, it's been a good set series of plays coming out from Vision. Just the unrelenting pressure that Kaz has been able to put onto the enemy jungler and just the enemy team in general. And they're still scared. He has not gone into Infinite Reboot once. They are too scared to output significant damage onto him because they don't think they're going to get any value off of it. And this just allows PvP Trinity to really abuse how much damage you can get out of a weapon power Kestrel if you're free to actually do that damage. He's been able to farm well. He's up by 10 CS over Jazzville, and this is really just Vision Gaming's game to lose. They have complete control.
Vision Gaming's game to win, right? That's what you were looking for?
No, I think it's their game to lose. They've pretty much won the game at this point if everything continues to move in their direction. If they play the game as they are right now, and nice block on the Forced Accord.
Yeah, Forced Accord getting blocked up. Ordain gonna lock PvP Trinity down, but that's interesting. He was pretty much locked in the front line there, and Misfits did not decide to pursue. They come in to look for some damage there, but Kaz is just sitting there working away on the gold mine. Aftershock doing such a good job, and Kaz already has an Aegis. They're going in. Jazzville is forced to use the healing flask already. There's the wait for it. It does get blocked up. They know that Forced Accord is down, so they can look to be aggressive here, at least for the next little while. 40 seconds left on that ability. PvP Trinity is pretty hurt though, so he's gonna have to be careful. There's the Imperial Sigil coming out, gonna top him up nearly full. That's the power of going with that early game Crucible, as well as Shaded Talent already has that War Treads available to him as well. Fearsome Shade is gonna help Curly get his CS there, but that's only a little bit of a silver lining in a rough situation here for Misfits.
Yeah, you also have to think about how much gold is still in PvP Trinity's pocket. Should have that second Tyrant's Monocle within the next 2 minutes, so that kind of full crit build is coming through. Those Glimmer Shots are going to do massive damage, and eventually we'll see the Pierce. There's not been a lot of armor. Crowley doesn't have the money to do the same with Jazzville, and really Ali Peterson's the only one who's picked up a little bit of defenses. So at this point, everybody's still a squishy target in PvP Trinity's eyes. Not to mention just how much value Kaz has got. Now tanking up, is now able to sustain through the fights longer, has a bit more defenses, hasn't needed to pick up that damage because PvP Trinity is getting his build online.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you there. PvP Trinity definitely going places in this game, but will it be enough to get them all the way through? We've seen Kestrels get a little bit out of positioning sometimes and can actually drop very quickly in a fight thanks to the very offensive builds. They go 600 damage coming through onto Curly there twice, 3 times. There's Kaz with a Prime Directive cleaning up a kill. He's now onto Jazzville, but a stun from Ali Peterson might help him get out. Prime Directive gonna clip the heels, and that might be Vision looking for an ace. Stunned up underneath Crystal Sentry, but an Imperial Sigil gonna allow them to get out alive. Ali Peterson's gonna drop. That's an ace going over to Vision Gaming. That's a second turret. That's a Crystal Sentry as well. 8-0, 7,000 gold in the lead. Vision Gaming looking to close this one out early as they can. They might even look to poke down another turret here. They're gonna take it right before Jazzville and Curly's eyes. That's just rubbing a little bit of salt in the wounds.
Yeah, they've pretty much taken everything, and they're not done.
No, they are not. They've got some damage onto Jazzville. They're looking to go in. There's the Prime Directive chunking him down. A core charge gonna take him out. 1 shot, 1 kill gonna miss, but the Prime Directive's not. There's another core charge. That's gonna take him down. Ali Peterson drops 2. Our Vision Gaming just gonna close this game out. Kestrel very well could be looking to do so. They've got 1 turret down. They're turning onto the other, and the death timer's just now ticking out for Misfits. I think Vision has done it. That's game number 1, 12.5 minutes into the game, and Vision, they were not happy about losing to Fox there.
No, definitely not. And they came out with a good solid composition. So much of that was based off of how they played that early game. When you have an alpha, take the early advantage, get the value out of having that additional life, and just the fear that Misfits played with allowed for Cause to just get so far ahead. He didn't keep building damage. He built, as properly as he could. He made it so that he would survive the fights while still outputting damage and being a threat to Jacksonville in the back. And PvP Trinity was just left open to do damage. The kills went to Cause, but I'd say PvP Trinity dished out most of the damage.
Yeah, PvP Trinity did great. Big 600 criticals. And, that's about as perfect as the game can get for you. You ended the game before the Kraken spawned, right at this 13-minute mark. They didn't give up a single kill to Misfits. Dragonborn, where did Vision get all this? Where did this Vision team come from off the back of those last 2 games with Fox to just come out so strong here?
Well, this is a lot like how Vision played game 1 in the last series. They played very strong. They were the dominant team. Not quite this dominant. This is at a whole nother level. But again, we know this roster has the capability to pull this out. The question is, can they continue to put these pieces together and throughout the entire series? The draft has to stay strong. They made massive mistakes in the last series and draft. These are the corrections they started to make. They made it in this first game. They played exceptionally well. And you know what? No Blackfeather, no Rhyme. That's something that they need to keep an eye on. I love how Cos played the Alpha. I was really surprised we didn't see the Alpha get banned away. And with that being said, as we switch sides and go to the next game, this is something I think both teams will be keeping an eye on as we get into this. But you know what? Yeah, Vision Gaming, they've got the skill, they've got what it takes to win these games, but they just have to put the whole thing together from draft to end.
Yeah, they absolutely do. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, like you mentioned, they started off game 1 against Fox looking so good. Is this going to be a repeat of the same series just with, Misfits instead? Is Vision going to take a commanding lead that they just look so dominant and then drop it? I mean, we talked about it. I thought Vision throughout most of the tournament has looked very consistent. That was not the case against Echo Fox.
Well, yeah, I really hope for Vision's sake that they're able to keep it together here. We'll have to see what Misfits has. I'm sure they're going to come back with a response as well. No doubt this next game could be one that will be very close, very contested here. Misfits probably really upset about how that all played out. It's early game snowball like that, but at least it was quick, painless. You can move on to the next game, try to forget about what just happened, and try to figure out how you're going to apply your stuff, your game plan, and how you're going to pressure the enemy team. Misfits, this is a good roster. I mean, they've had some great performances. They were previously under several different names here, having really strong performances in VIS. They've made it to the playoffs as this group almost every single split for the last 2 seasons. So as we get into this, again, I wouldn't put it past these guys. There's a lot of talent, skill, and synergy that comes into this Misfits roster. All right, so we are going to take a quick second here, everybody, as we wait for all the players to get in. With this slight pause, we'll take a very short ad break, but when we come back, we'll be getting into the game right away. It will be a very short break, in fact, so don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll be right back.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I told you that'd be short, and we are ready to get into the draft for this next game. Denominate, this is make or break for Misfits. They are down one game of the series. They are in the elimination bracket. They cannot lose this, or they're going to be packing their bags a little bit earlier than I think they had hoped for. So as we jump into the draft here, what do Misfits need to do here? You know, again, great game won by Vision Gaming. Can Misfits come back?
Well, Misfits obviously looking to take Shaded Talent off of their Lyra, not wanting anything to do with that again. And I think that's smart. I mean, the two games that Shaded Talent really had the best performance on, he was on that Lyra. Just the amount that he provides the team early game with that sustain, it made it very difficult for Fox even to play in that third game. Ultimately, it did go over to Fox. The Rhyme is going to be taken off the table by Vision Gaming, and I like this because we didn't see them respect the Rhyme there in game number 1. That has allowed the Black Feather to go over, but now we have the Rona still available, and Rona, a very good duelist into the Black Feather.
Yeah, it really can be, and I think, you know, Misfits they're doing what they're doing the best they can as far as saying, all right, we're going to prioritize power picks here. Something that Vision Gaming hasn't done, but Vision Gaming taking the opportunity here, pulls out a Rona. This has been one of those picks, as we talk about dueling, that is very effective here, and I think Vision Gaming definitely trying to put themselves in a position where they could go toe-to-toe with Misfits, even with that Black Feather coming out. Now, we haven't seen Black Feather lose tonight, Denominate. Could this be the first one?
Well, it's possible. We'll just have to see what comes out here. The Kestrel is taken off the board, so we've seen some success with the Kestrel Black Feather combination, and in Arden now taken off. So got a couple of captains banned away by the side of Misfits here. Now, obviously, we still have the Catherine available. We still have the Grace available. I think the Catherine is probably the better pickup here, or maybe even a Fortress. That extra mortal wound on your team, since Rona probably not going with the Poison Shiv. She does have the mortal wound built into her foe splitter. Oh, wow. That's a statement.
Wow, Alpha and Rona. So we know we're going to see the Rona in the lane. Alpha's going to be the jungle. This is an absolutely bruising, brawling composition from Vision Gaming. There's no rhyme. So now, what did Misfits do? What can they pull out? Cruel would absolutely be devastated by the Rona. This is going to just... I feel like this is really going to tear up the side of Misfits unless they pull out something. They almost need something that really allows them just to poke and disengage very quickly.
Yeah, or anything that can constantly kite, which is still even a risk, So we've seen the Sky come out in some circumstances and work. There's a lot of dive and a lot of consistent gap closers right now. So that's a pretty risky pick. This isn't a draft I'd want to be in if I'm Misfits right now. So, they have to go with something that can probably try to scale up the same way the Rona can. The Black Feather is going to have some difficulty, so... for their captain, they're going to probably want to go with something with crowd control. I was going to say the Catherine is a very reliable stun into Rona's Red Mist, but with two melee heroes already picked by the side of Vision, they go with the Grace, and that's going to provide a lot of potential for multiple stuns with the Holy Nova.
Yeah, I mean, the Holy Nova here is that reliable crowd control that you need. The problem is it's fairly predictable. I mean, I think Vision Gaming could do a good job. Rona should be having a pretty easy time. The only challenge might be the Alpha. So they're going to have to go in, move out. It could definitely disrupt the flow, that's for sure, right? Now, but Rona's going to want to get to the back line. Grace has to really mind her positioning in this entire match, how they're going to go in. And when we talk about trying to deal with poke, maybe re-engage, repositioning, the Sky comes out here. And this is a hero that we have seen. It's got some ups and downs here, Day, because, it's likely going to be that Crystal Sky. A lot of it's going to hinge around just repositioning these fights, which, I'll be honest, with an Alpha is actually pretty hard to do.
It is, and Rona can use the foe splitter for a gap closer, can use the end of the fray for a gap closer. So those are kind of things we're going to have to watch out for. Is if Skye is actually able to get the amount of repositioning that she's hoping to.
Yeah, so this actually a real challenge. Now the question comes into what will Vision do? They're going to go with the Fortress. Clearly an attempt to ensure that they just have that speed pursuit, right? They're not looking for crowd control because that maybe not won't work in the sense that if you can just like disengage from the fight, Catherine might not be close enough to get that stun off. With Fortress, you're kind of just chasing, constantly hounding, and against the Skye, this could be a really powerful duo. I'll be honest, Denomine, I don't know if I've really seen Rona Alpha and a Fortress composition play anytime recently, but it seems like on paper, this could be really a hard one to go up against.
Yeah, the Fortress is really good into the Skye for blocking out that forward barrage, but that's really what they have going for them right now. They don't, they're not looking for the crowd control. They're looking for reducing the amount of damage that Skye can do by just having something in her way as frequently as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely what the name of the game right now as we get into this matchup. All right, we're going to be getting into the game in just a few seconds, everybody. Of course, looking to jump into it, but I got to be honest, when I look at these two compositions, Day, it's something that we've seen a lot of change in 2.9 over the last few weeks, but the Challenger teams really do bring out some really interesting pairing of heroes, and this is a great example of that as well. We know Alpha and Rona are strong, so will Blackfeather have his first loss tonight? I think we're about to find out.
Yeah, definitely could be looking for it. Nothing set in stone. Obviously, it's going to be dependent on how all of these players play today, but this is a pretty rough situation for anybody to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, we're getting into the matchup. I'm going to kick it over to our casters, Denomine, and the source for potentially getting us into what might be our last game of the night. Guys, take it away.
All right, you heard him, Source. This could be the last game we see here tonight. This is going to decide who is going to get that extra lifeline and make it into the playoffs. So, based on these compositions, so obviously we haven't seen a whole lot of Skye lately, but can be very good into a triple melee composition. Who do you think comes out on top? Who do you think has got the edge here in this draft?
It's fairly back and forth. It depends on how much value Jazzville gets towards the middle of the game. If the slow can come out from the Skye and really kite the targets. But honestly, you look at Vision Gaming's composition, and their philosophy is that crowd control is for those who can't catch their opponents. And clearly, we need none of that. So their entire strategy is based on running down their opponents very quickly, catching them out in the mid game. They've got two item spike moments. One is very early on in the game where you get that aftershock onto Cause. Once that's in, that's your first item spike. And then your second one is when you've got Serpent's Mask breaking point on the Rona. Those two timings, usually somewhere around 6 minutes and probably about 12 minutes into the game, are the two turning points we have to look for. And those are the times when Misfits needs to be most careful, is when they see those items come to play. Obviously, you don't want to give up on any unnecessary kills, but you can take a few more risks at those stages to kind of slow down that momentum. And they're putting a lot of damage on the Shaded Talent.
Yeah, they are, and they are going to actually get the first blood onto Crowley. Shaded Talent is going to drop as well. Kaz is about to go into that infinite reboot, but not before he finds another kill. That's Ali Peterson dropping as well. PvP Trinity just looking to get onto the Skye. Both healing flasks are popped, and Alpha is back here ready to go. But Jazzville, he's getting ready to have that Surrey Strike available. Can he get out of here alive? He will. That's a 2-for-1 trade now for the side of Vision. And they got to be feeling all right off the back of that one. Not great, but they're not disappointed in it either.
The fact that the Skye got away means that Misfits, they did walk away from that with some gains. they probably didn't want to fight in that exact position. They would have wanted to have Jazzville there sooner, and then maybe they pick up his kills a little bit cleaner because, yeah, you have to, they did kill Cause, but you have to get through the infinite reboot. That's just kind of the problem of dealing with the alpha. If they've got that Sky there a little bit sooner, maybe they can put more pressure on a PvP Trinity, who is, a more easily killed target. But Misfits are still in an okay position. We still haven't seen Blackfeather go down. They're farming very well, putting a lot of pressure on a PvP Trinity in the lane, not really allowing him to farm, keeping the wave pulled back. So far, Vision, they're definitely fighting better than Misfits, but Misfits are playing a good enough early game that despite having given up a kill, they're still ahead by about 400 gold.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sky, I'm so excited to see if they're able to get it online enough to actually pull out the victory here. Now, Sky can be very difficult to play into a composition that just has so much chase potential. And with the Fortress, we know that's definitely going to be a thing. So it's going to be, it's a risky pick, but it's a high risk with high reward pick as well. So, there's a lot of potential for the Sky to just become uncontrollable and, really be a hero that, a double melee composition can never catch up with. And then obviously with the Dragon's Eye coming online, that Sky is going to be ramping up damage pretty frequently.
Yeah, they definitely have to be careful on the side of Vision, but I have faith after seeing the way that they've played that they can definitely deal with the Sky. Open up a little bit of damage on the Cause. Shaded Talent is in there, but this whole time they don't really have great lockdown themselves. They don't really have that crowd control, but the chase is just better for Vision.
Yeah, the chase definitely is, but if Sky is able to dance around, it could provide a big distraction as well. And if Blackfeather is allowed to build up breaking point stacks, he could come in with a strong Faint of Heart execute and get a lot of damage that's just unavoidable at that point. So they kind of do have to pick which target they want to go on carefully.
Yeah, and Dragon's Eye is in for Sky, so we'll see that those stacks build up. We still don't have that really in there in the spectate, so we can't see the exact number, but we will see the damage that results in getting enough of those stacks. We can already see PvP Trinity very low.
Absolutely, but it's just not quite enough for anybody to come up and get a kill yet. It's still very early on in this game, but good death from above going to help zone out Kaz there. Surrey Strike going to get away from PvP Trinity. Kaz is now dropped into Infinite Reboot before he can use that Termination Protocol. And I think Misfits find the better end of that fight. They might even be able to get Kaz down here. They do. They answer back with a kill. They're now on to Shaded Talent. And that was some good plays coming out of Misfits. I think they actually find another kill here. They do. They're probably going to take down a Crystal Sentry as well. But Curly has to be careful here. Stun from Ali Peterson going to save his life from that Crystal Sentry. And Misfits coming out strong there.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Rona on the turret.
Oh, she's going to die for this. PvP Trinity has accepted his death, and the Rona will die. Well, maybe not.
Into the Fray is ready to go. Oh, it's so close. The stun doesn't quite land by Jazzville. Red and Mist going to come out just to try to buy some time. It's not enough. Misfits find a fourth kill. And now Shaded Talent and Kaz need to get up into the lane. It's great that Rona got the turret, but if you're trading out turret for turret, then you're not really getting that edge over your opponents. There it is. First turret down for Misfits as well. But kill answered quickly as both players taking down the turret are going to give up their life. In fact, it's going to be Ali Peterson dropping as well. 4-4 now. Both first turrets are down. Both of these teams have played so aggressively, Source. But it's Kaz starting up this gold miner. He has the Aftershock that's going to allow him to heal up a little bit while chunking it down. And Jazzville, unfortunately, low on energy, is going to be unable to contest that one. I think Vision Gaming might have just got this one for free.
So all of that starts with great death from above placement from Jazzville. The setup, how much damage they got on the Cause, and get them that initial kill, get them that initial play, pick up those 2 kills. After that, it's just, this constant scurrying back and forth. And I think this is a testament to the types of teams we've got here. These are definitely challenger teams. They're willing to take these scrappier plays to play more risks. than you normally see with some of the professional teams. And it ends up working out in favor of Vision Gaming, this kind of chaotic style of moving around the map and looking for whatever they can pick up has brought them ahead in terms of gold after a fight that started out very much not in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. It was PvP Trinity unfortunately getting a little caught too far, but Jazzville has the Eve of Harvest online, and he has the Dragon's Eye online, and this is where Sky starts to actually be a pretty decent threat. There comes the Prime Directive. Jazzville is so hurt right now. It's a Divine Intervention coming through. Kaz is going to find the Prime Directive in, gets the Termination Protocol onto Crowley, but it's not enough as they are going to get out. Oh, well, there's the kill coming out of PvP Trinity there. Kaz is taking so much damage from that forward barrage, and Jazzville might be the one getting out now. He's able to heal up off of that forward barrage. Shaded Talent dropped very low, and now with Vision Gaming on the chase, Jazzville likely going to look to get a forward barrage down here. A good stun as PvP Trinity is jumping in. Allie Peterson going to lose her life, though, but Jazzville should be able to make it out alive. In fact, steals away that Treant as well. Man, this has been an absolutely hectic game. I thought, both teams might be looking into this game to be a little bit cautious just because of what's on the line, but they are risking it all, and they are going for glory as, again, whoever wins this has that extra chance. They will move on into the playoffs fighting for that spot in the challenge battles.
I mean, you can definitely see the Vision Gaming have picked a strategy where there is no playing it safe. This is a pedal to the metal strategy. Go all in and do it all of the time. And they've managed to come out ahead in these fights, but they need to get a little bit more value.
Yeah, they do. Crowley up here taking a bit of damage, but Shaded Talent is as well. PvP Trinity now with a good red mist onto all the targets of Misfits, as well as the Prime Directive coming out of Kaz, going to get some good burst damage down. They find Crowley, and that is not looking good. Jazzville gonna have to clean out these minions as much as he possibly can. He's able to get them down pretty quickly as the wave is pushed up here by PvP Trinity, or on the side of PvP Trinity. But now here comes the Prime Directive over the wall. Jazzville taking so much burst. There's going to be the Divine Intervention healing him up, saving him for seconds, but not for much longer. Allie Peterson now going to drop as well. 9-5 Vision Gaming finding every opportunity they can get. And now Crowley left alone to defend this turret. Here comes the wave. Here comes Kaz coming in. I think Vision Gaming have found the second turret for themselves, and they should all make it out here safely. They've got a 4,500 gold lead here coming up to 11 minutes. And this Blackfeather, unfortunately, is just not having a very good time into the Rona Fortress and Alpha combination.
Yeah, and this is the time for Vision to be pushing the side of Misfits back. They need to be pushing the objective as often as they possibly can, because this is when Rona is at some of her strongest. She's got Serpent's Mask, she's got Breaking Point, you've got the Broken Myth Aftershock combo on Kaz. Shaded Talent, item wise, it's not really as relevant for him as long as he's playing well and kind of giving the right speed boost to the team at the right time. And we've seen that Crowley doesn't survive the fights very long. Jazzville is getting bursted before he can get that kite to go through, because the attack of the pack is there, because the gap closers are there for the side of Vision Gaming. And now that PvP Trinity is kind of in that sweet spot where the stack damage is gonna be able to build up, he's gonna get even tankier and harder to kill, which the question becomes, who's gonna actually do that job on the side of Misfits, because Jazzville hasn't been able to.
Man, Kaz is coming in. He had the core overload stacks, got a huge burst damage down. Allie Peterson forced low, but Crowley might be the one dropping first. Divine Intervention comes through, but it's not enough. That's going to be Allie Peterson dropping. Crowley is on the run. Rona on his tail. That's a second kill now. And Kaz is on to Jazzville. 1, 2, 3. Line him up, and Vision will take them down. And that's an ace now for Vision Gaming. That's going to be a gold mine, as well as PvP Trinity going to try to get up here and force the wave up. And that's going to cause the side of Misfits to have to deal with this ace wave. PvP Trinity should rotate down through the jungle and just take away as much farm as he can. And that's what he's going to do. he should be able to get pretty much all of it uncontested because, again, Misfits are forced to deal with this double Ace Wave even without any members of Vision here. That Ace Wave was able to take down over a third of that turret's health.
Yep, and PvP Trinity, what did he just finish? Finished tier 3 boots. He's going to be able to just free engage. So they've got 2 pairs of War Treads, so they're already, hard engaging. They've got Attack of the Pack, so more hard engaged. They've got the Core Charge. They've got the Foe Splitter. They have pretty much everything they need to just dive. And I don't know how Jazzville gets the stacks built up, because so far, Side of Vision Gaming, anytime they see a target, they're willing to dive it completely, and there isn't a lot of protection for Jazzville. Ali Peterson can kind of throw down the Holy Nova, but that only is going to stop so much, and they've done a very good job of jumping over that, of timing through that skill shot on the side of Vision Gaming.
Yeah, there's actually a Shiver Steel picked up by PvP Trinity as well, looking to slow Jazzville down as much as possible. Now, obviously, with the overdriven Surrey Strike, he can kind of still dance around the fight, but if he uses the Surrey Strike and PvP Trinity follows with an Into the Fray and a Shiver Steel, that's likely going to be just a kill on Jazzville as he's waiting for that cooldown at that point. Vision Gaming, they are looking just absolutely crazy in the lead right now. 8,000 gold. We're at the 14-minute mark, taking away more out of the jungle of Misfits. And this Kraken should be coming online here in about 50 seconds. So if Misfits want to... if they want to find any kind of advantage, they need to find it quick. They need to be able to turn things around so they can get that Kraken online, off the back of some kills as well. We haven't seen really a kill come out of them in a while. Vision Gaming have just been looking so dominant. They're starting up another gold mine, and really Misfits either just have to give this up, because forcing a fight right now with the situation that you're in, 8,000 gold behind, that's likely going to be a gold mine going over to Vision anyway, as well as probably the fight going over to them as well.
Yeah, it's not a good time for them to be picking the fight, but at the same time, that's not a good objective for them to fight over. It's a dangerous open position. The issue is they need Jazzville to have stacks built up. The Curly doesn't actually have a breaking point, so you're not getting those stacks built up out of your Black Feather either. So that's a huge amount of damage that you're lacking. And then you combine that with the fact that it has to be forward barrages that are really building those stacks for Jazzville. They're not going to let you get the forward barrage. The moment they see him, the moment he's in range to do that damage, he's going to get doped. And
if Misfits wanted
resources.
If Misfits wanted to pick a fight over an objective, the Kraken should have been it. They're a little bit late to that trade. Kraken goes over to Vision. Here comes Attack of the Pack. Here comes Kaz with a Prime Directive. A good Surrey Strike is going to cut Vision Gaming off, but PvP Trinity is in deep. Crowley is dropping dangerously low. That's a kill for Vision. Now they need to get onto Jazzville. The Prime Directive is going to land. Kaz is taking a lot of damage, but he's finding a lot as well. Termination Protocol is out. Oh no, the Prime Directive just misses, but it doesn't matter. There's PvP Trinity with the kill, and now they can look to turn their attention onto Ali Peterson, or Kaz can at least. Rona definitely should be trying to force up this Kraken as well. I don't know if you need all 3 chasing Ali Peterson, but they're going to do it anyway. That's the ace. That's the choke point turret. And now a very healthy Kraken is going to be pushing into the base of Misfits. This could be the end of our night here, Source. If Vision is able to finish this game out, that Kraken's still about 80% health. Here comes Jazzville. Do they have the damage? Atlas down onto Crowley. He's going to slow his attacks up. Prime Directive coming through, getting some damage onto both carries and the turret. The turret is down. The Kraken is at half health. Vision Gaming are looking to close game number 2 out here, and I think they've done it. Kraken wailing down on the Vayne. That's going to be game number 2. Vision Gaming move on. What a great performance out of this team here, Source.
Yeah, and honestly, before that last team fight occurred, we were talking about how there were just so few options for the side of Misfits. They were pretty much past the point of no return. There wasn't an opening for Jazzville to do a lot because PvP Trinity, Kaz, and Jaded Talon did such a good job of shutting him down. Crowley had to go into picking up the Poison Shiv, so he was behind on getting the breaking point. I think he could have picked up, instead of getting the Sword Blade, the breaking point, and then maybe they have that opportunity to find those long fights, and you saw how much damage that Jazzville was getting over time, but there was no way to protect him. And it's just a good play by Vision to pick a composition that could just pressure through, and once they got advantage, they never let go.
Absolutely. And to help us close out tonight and get us prepared for the last day of the playoffs tomorrow, Dragonborn, we know all the teams that are going on now, right?
Well, we know the teams that will be in tomorrow. That's absolutely correct. So let's go jump over to that real quickly here, as we're gonna jump right from this game here. This is the playoff brackets, everybody, as we move right into this, and these are the 4 teams that have survived this far. They are making it to day number 2. Team Hazard, Echo Fox, Vision Gaming, GG, and Necrolite are our top 4 teams. These guys will be battling it out. Oh man, they'll be looking for those top 3 spots. So at this point, we know 2 of the teams going to challenge battles. The Vision Gaming versus Necrolite match tomorrow, that will actually be a deciding matchup for who will make it to challenge battles from that matchup. And then from there, it's all placement. I do want to take a few seconds before we say goodnight, everybody, to just break down one of the changes. And we'll actually have a graphic made for you guys tomorrow to help break this down a little bit easier. Is challenge battle format has changed. Where now the top 3 teams will actually be facing off against the bottom 2 Vainglory A teams. So there'll only be 2 spots available total. In addition, it's going to be a double elimination bracket format with, obviously the Vainglory A teams having a little bit of a head start. What that means is that it's going to be a much harder road for the Vainglory, for the challenger teams to make it through. They've got to re-battle against themselves in that process, and then make it to the next phase where they'll be able to go up against the Vainglory A team. They'll have to beat them. The Vainglory A teams will get another shot. So again, you're basically going to have to beat these teams twice in some cases. The format's different. We'll have a lot of information tomorrow, actually, before we start our stream, to be able to go over it with all the viewers. But it's a really cool format. What that means is seeding really matters here, ladies and gentlemen. Being a first seed from challengers is going to give you a little bit of an edge as you go into challenge battles in a few weeks. So lots on the line this time. It's really important for these teams. They're going to be obviously putting it all on the line here, as I believe this will be the last time we'll be playing on 2.9 for challengers. Challenge battles does typically tend to move to the newer update since it's a few weeks off. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. Denomine and the Source, man, these were exciting games.
Yeah, they absolutely were. Sorry about that, Dragon. I'm getting a little bit sick.
Oh man, dude, I hope you get better. But hey, that's it for tonight. We will be back again tomorrow, everybody. Make sure you guys tune in. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Pacific. You're not going to miss the action right here on the VIS League. Make sure you guys tune in, get in, and grab your popcorn, because it's going to be an exciting one. Until then, guys, good night. See ya.